World cold and cruel. Miss Sakura soft and warm. I would say where is Miss Sakura, but we know where Miss Sakura is. Right here.
Deep in our heart.
Dear in our heart. Look at her, our therapist.
Yeah.
We trust her so much. Yeah.
I'm not sure we trust ourselves, though.
This is true. Sad puppy Ran. Oh yeah, then this happened last time. This was wild. Yeah.
Mom, holy heck.
My sleep paralysis demon. I can't believe my sleep paralysis demon is this cute.
Here to meet Ran Ikubi.
Oh, yes. Right, hello. Dutch. This surprise appearance. Hi. Do you have games on your phone, Ron? Good. Yep. Good bot. Good bot. Yeah. Do you have games on your phone? No. Go back to sleep. So many eyeballs. Yeah. This strange moon-scorched throat monster can fit so many eyeballs.
Oh, yeah, you can see a pile of them right down there.
Yeah. Middle of the... That is a... Yeah. That is an uncomfortable amount of eyeballs. Although I suppose the gateway for... the limit for comfortable amount of eyeballs is 2. Oh, Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Chris, hello. Here's our friend. Our sleep paralysis demon. I don't really know any better way to describe it. Other than...
Who we are theorizing might be trying to pretend to be our girlfriend.
Right. So, this charming little fella here might be pretending to be our girlfriend. Something is inside Ran Ibuki trying to be Ran Ibuki. Women Wednesday. Women.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're ready. Here's our This was our wholesome interaction from the last stream.
With our friend Yaruno.
Yeah. And we still can't get Ron to go swimming. Despite her objectively being a sobbing wet, sad puppy.
Please.
Please. Low data.
All right, last time we were going to explore the tunnel with Hinata.
Right.
And then the internet exploded.
Yeah, rocks fell and my stream died. So... Yeah, I think the one thing I cut out of the VOD was, like that brief time we came back online. Hinata and Ron went back to the tunnel. Ron wants Hinata to give up on dating her because she's not Miss Sakura. I think she had a, reversal of fortune moment catching Ron falling down. Where was it? Yeah. Momentum had caused Ron to stumble several steps backward, still holding the stone. Seeing it, Koizumi quickly stepped up and caught Ron. Ooh.
The debt is paid.
Yes. Yep. Managed to get it out. Okay. We are carrying a boulder. A large boulder. The size of a small boulder. Now.
Flashlight. Shine a light down that crack, will you?
That's what she said. Koizumi nodded and pointed the light toward the scene of Ron's struggles for the past few minutes. Behind the crack, there were even more layers of broken stone, no different from the rest. Ron, taking deep breaths, headed out of the tunnel. Koizumi immediately followed, helping to illuminate the path for her. They reached the exit of the tunnel. Ron stopped and tossed the rock out of the tunnel. The rock landed on the ground and rocked back and forth a bit from momentum before falling still.
Hasn't transformed even after leaving the tunnel.
Transformed? Am I missing some context here? Ron stepped out of the tunnel and took a look under the light of the sun at the bits of wet lichen still stuck to her hands.
And the lichen was real too. It hasn't vanished just because it was removed from the tunnel. So I guess we're checking to see if it's an anomaly?
Oh, okay. A few raindrops landed in Ron's palm. Ron looked up at the rain clouds gathering over them in the sky before returning her thoughts to the tunnel.
No, the problem isn't with the tunnel itself. Perhaps this school and the nearby foot-accessible area are both considered one unitary whole, whatever that means?
Like one soul space enclosed by whatever might be enclosing us. So the tunnel is legit closed and blocked. And whatever the boundaries of this space are, it includes the school and the surrounding path.
All right, let's go over the anomalies again. Recap. Firstly, nobody's concerned about being unable to leave here. Some sort of cognitive hazard?
Ooh.
Indefinitely available necessities for everyday life, maintaining the stability of the environment. And of course, the murder game where revival is possible. Let's assume that's the purpose for which we've been brought here.
Murder game.
Think I've got it. Cognitive disruption, a closed but stable environment, and certain strange and distinct rules. I've encountered many supernatural phenomena like this before. And that's why I'm worried about you, Ron.
Indeed.
The true mastermind probably just wants to see us murder each other back and forth. The question is where this being is and why it selected us in particular.
Ultimate despair. Ron took the lichen off of her hand and looked to her side to see Koizumi diligently holding an umbrella up for the two of them. Imagine if Monokuma looked like our night visitor girlfriend.
Are you planning to clear out all the rocks in the tunnel by yourself, Ibuki-san?
Yes.
There's way too many to move without serious excavation tools or time. Not to mention I haven't even gotten Miss Sakura's memories back. I've at least got to figure out that before I leave. That's right. If it's the same type of anomaly as the Red Ruins, then I haven't the foggiest why the rules have caused Miss Sakura to lose her memories.
Red Ruins. Another...
Are you going to be learning about that soon?
Okay. Very good.
All right.
We will look at that shortly.
Because if it's part of the rules that this place operates under, then all of us should have lost our memories. Even I've only forgotten how it was that I got here.
Ooh.
There's still a different path here, though, so let's keep going and see where it leads.
How do I... There we go. Notes. No. Wrong thing. Term.
Next page? There was a next page tab on the right.
There we go. Thank you. I did not see that. Red Ruins. A region situated in the far eastern reaches of Russia, with an area of approximately 6.6 square kilometers. Humans who enter the area will be compelled by certain rules, the details of which are unclear due to Ron's activity. To participate in a certain activity, after 12 days pass, all participants will depart the ruins uninjured. However, their personalities will become drastically altered, and they will from then on behave in a way that is consistent with common behavior displayed by average adult citizens of the Soviet Union in the 1960s. Furthermore, they will loudly broadcast their new beliefs and manifesto in public gatherings. Oh.
What?
Interesting. Ron Ibuki once entered these ruins, but escaped from them after only one day. Boss maneuver. Pro gamer. She experienced no alterations to her personality.
Isekai into Russia?
The ruins that
While
make you
you're
red.
already in Russia?
Yeah. Isekai into the Soviet Union. This is just pathologic.
Oh no!
What we got here? Oh, hey. I need to remember how to navigate my way out of here. Help. I can't do escape. Alright. Raindrops fell with increasing density, and the rain grew heavy, but it didn't deter Ron from deciding to press onwards. It's just an SCP, yeah.
The ruins that make you red!
Yeah. Ron walked to the edge of the path and stuck her hand out, inspecting the cliff beneath. It wasn't very tall, just 5 or 6 meters high, with a grove of bushes underneath. Beyond was dense and unending forest. So this is the school that makes you Danganronpa.
Good luck, Chris. Even in the worst case scenario, if I slipped and fell, I probably wouldn't sustain any injuries as long as I slid down the incline. Let's keep going.
Ron stepped onto the path, which was only wide enough for one person at a time. She pressed her left hand to the side of the mountain and slowly creeped forward.
Ibuki!
Danger! Koizumi seemed afraid that she'd scared Ron if she shouted too loudly, so she closed her mouth and followed behind Ron. The rain grew heavier and heavier. Ron couldn't help but constantly blink her eyes. She felt like with every step she took, the road in front of her became thinner and thinner.
This is far enough for now.
There was a sharp left turn in the path ahead, where the tunnel turned the other way. It was very difficult to push through this bend in the storm, so Ron decided to turn back. She turned around to discover Koizumi was still following her. If she keeps going far enough, she turns around and sees like 100 schools behind her.
Oh no! And in the school, there is a Miss Sakura. Class rep, what are you doing following me up here? I was worried.
Oh.
Are you an idiot? This road's only wide enough for one person. Now that you're in the way, how are we supposed to get back? We do our best.
Do your best. Oh.
I'm sorry. I'll turn around immediately.
Let her worry.
Wait. I'm sorry I shouldn't have yelled at you.
Oh.
Aw. Don't rush yourself. Make sure you turn around slowly and carefully. I'm not angry with you.
Surprisingly clear-headed of her. Good on her.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh. Koizumi nodded as she took hold of a protruding rock. Extending her right foot behind her, she slowly began the difficult process of turning herself around, alternating which hand she was using to hold onto the rocks as she turned. Well, this is like a really precarious path leading down. Ron, for her part, quickly turned around and came to Koizumi's side and raised her left hand to help make sure she didn't fall. Her actions caused noticeable tension in Koizumi, and she tightened her grip on the rock in response, but the conical surface of the stone was slippery with rainwater, and her hand slipped off. Losing her balance, Koizumi tilted backwards. Ron immediately leapt forward, trying to grab Koizumi's clothes, but she missed. Ah! Danger! Without thinking, Koizumi instinctively reached out. Ron acted before her brain could fully process the situation as well, and grabbed her hand immediately.
Wait, I can't take that hand.
The hand's only for Miss Sakura. The moment that thought appeared to her, Ron was dragged off the cliff herself, along with Koizumi. Oh no.
You see what happens when you hold hands before marriage?
Yeah. This is what they warn you about. Ron got up from the ground, dusted her clothes off a bit, and looked up. Above was the path the two of them had just fallen from.
Good thing it wasn't too high. I believe we actually fell down. But this whole area counts as the school too?
Good question. Why they're gonna find like a boundary, or just instinctively loop back around or something? If this was like Control, schools are so associated with mutual murder because of shit like Battle Royale. Would be surprised if it was a place of power that propped up on the collective subconscious.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ibuki-san.
You did your best. Koizumi was sitting on the ground, crying terribly. She wiped her face ceaselessly as the rain and tears together turned her eyes red.
Aww.
Picnic box and the now badly bent umbrella had landed near her left leg. Her pants had been torn in the fall, and her scraped thigh was exposed to the air. Oh no.
Ibuki-san, I'm sorry. What do we do? I shouldn't have tried to catch her back then. They've gone back to the school and called for help. It's not like she would have permanently died, right?
Right.
Hey, do accidents have permanent deaths? We don't know yet, do we?
I didn't catch her. I didn't catch her. I'm the culprit. Rewind time.
Can't be helped now. Let's calm down the class president first.
What if revival only cares about murder?
That'd be messed up.
Yeah. Then we class trial to prove murder. Yeah.
Feels like the class president's always taking a fall, huh?
Mean to her. Yeah. Affectionate. Ron approached Koizumi's side and stretched a hand out.
Come on, let's calm down so we can stand up and find a place to hide from the rain.
Koizumi wiped her tears with one hand and took Ron's with her other. Ron pulled her up, putting some force into it. After Koizumi got up, she immediately collapsed into Ron's lap.
What's wrong? Can't stand up straight? Can you at least stand up gay?
Well, there's a problem. Koizumi shook her head, smiling wryly through the rain.
I'm fine. You don't need to worry. Looks like she's got a sprain. In that case, we probably shouldn't move about too much. Let's go hide from the rain under that tree, then we can call for help from our classmates.
This is equally prescient because it's currently raining outside. So I've escaped from the rainy outdoors to the rainy Chrono Jotter.
So comfy.
Ron supported Koizumi to the side of the tree and had her lean against it to rest, while she retrieved the picnic box and umbrella. Anyways, let's have that picnic while we're down here.
There's some cloth in the box that we can lay on the ground. Got it.
Trauma bonding over getting stranded in who knows where. Ron laid the picnic cloth flat on the ground. The leaves and branches above the two of them shielded them from the wind and the rain, creating a little shelter for them.
It's a shame that the umbrella's broken. Otherwise, we could have mounted it in the branches to help block the rain. Let's sit down and rest a bit, class president. Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh. Oh.
Aww.
Koizumi sat down on the tablecloth, pressing herself close to Ron. She began trying to clean her long, wet hair by hand.
Did you bring your phone? Yes.
Koizumi took her phone out of the pocket of her skirt. The fall had bent her smartphone into a flip phone. Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Hello, twin.
Hey.
Koizumi started crying again. Oh.
Come on, it's okay. Don't cry. It's not a big problem. Look, we mentioned that we were going to the tunnel back at lunch. In the worst case scenario, they'll notice we're not back in time for dinner, and they'll come out here to look for us. Miss Sakura's quite clever, you know. I'm sure she won't take long to figure out we slipped off the side of the path in the rain. She's so clever. I love her so much. My girlfriend.
She's so clever, so soft and warm. Koizumi, still crying, nodded her head. Her mood didn't seem like it particularly improved.
Why didn't your mood improve when I started talking about my girlfriend who I love so much?
She improves my mood. Why doesn't she improve yours?
Let's try something else.
New topic. As Ron thought to herself, the thought came to her that the sounds of the rain and the whistling of the wind were actually quite lovely. I remember listening to them with Miss Sakura. Oh shit, no, dang it. As she watched the raindrops leave perfect ripples in the puddles and listened to the leaves rustle softly in the wind, time seemed to slow for her.
I've been running here and there nonstop doing this and that. It's like this is the first time I've encountered something I can't do anything about, where all I can do is wait.
Oh.
Honestly, even though this is technically a disaster, it's kind of relaxing. They call this ASMR.
Yeah. The S in AS and the as we know, the S in ASMR stands for
Miss Sakura.
yeah. Ron lowered her head and shoulders, and her breathing grew calm. She enjoyed a rare moment of rest. Koizumi, noticing Ron's change of disposition, slowly stopped crying as well, and turned to face her.
Well, class president, it's a good thing you prepared so thoroughly. Doesn't matter, our situation is not as bad as it could have been.
Koizumi raised her head, her puffy red eyes making her look even more vulnerable than usual.
You've got a place to hide from the rain and the tablecloth to sit on. There's tea and biscuits in the lunchbox too, right? It's practically a real picnic.
Yeah. Hey. Trauma bonding, having a picnic in the rain.
Sweet girls.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ibiki-san. I wish I could be as calm as you.
Kazumi was trying her best not to waste Ron's efforts to cheer her up. She did her best to smile, and wiped her tears away with her fingers.
Oh, that's all thanks to Miss Sakura, really. I was just about to say, oh, she's got a surprising amount of Riz, and then she does this. I was a lot worse before I met her.
It's really ironic, because, like, when she's, like, managing to not center herself on Miss Sakura, she comes off as really rather charming and fun and struggling for the right word, but you get what I mean, right?
And she's really cute in her personal observations in her journal, too.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, like she can really be cool, calm, and collected in this situation and really honestly comfort and support Koizumi. And then, inevitably, it's all thanks to Miss Sakura.
For that, I'd have probably been crying even harder than you are right now. Really? I can't imagine that, Ibuki-san.
Koizumi stopped speaking. Ron supposed she must have suddenly remembered the image of Ron, grabbing An from the old shower room and dragging her into running away together. It was probably easy to imagine Ron crying her eyes out with that context.
Yeah. Even though you may have been influenced and changed by Sakura-san, you're still able to make the choices that you yourself want. I'm so jealous of that, really.
Yeah. Miss Sakura is... Perhaps Miss Sakura anti-Riz.
What's that mean? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Ever since I was young, everything in my life was already fully decided by my parents. The elementary school and middle school I went to were both places where they had connections. What I used on a daily basis and what I did on a daily basis, they dictated pretty much all of it. I never had a chance to decide anything for myself.
Oh. Rich people problems, I say empathetically.
Same with this high school, really. I didn't want to come here originally, but they still sent me here anyways.
They sent you here?
Here specifically. Where is here, actually?
Good question.
Wait, have we ever gotten a name for the high school?
I don't think so. It wouldn't be here. Back. I think it's in Japan, maybe. Yes. That. Oh, there's actual proper notes and stuff. If only Miss Sakura didn't limit herself only to giving me head pats. They all saw it. My condition. What does the class president want? The school sure is big. My feet hurt. Oh. There's a landline. She's changed a lot, but she's still wonderful. What else do I have to say here? There's a village on these lands. It's really cold. The school seems huge. Okay, their winter uniform. Okay, so that didn't really have as much. I don't think we're gonna rewind through there, but yeah, it did feel like a good part. Really, only Tama is the one who is surely obviously outside of her time here. There's a very real possibility that, like, Koizumi and some of these other people actually came here and then just got drawn into whatever abnormality this is.
Right. While ignoring the class president's feelings for a moment, just a moment, it's very important that she actually has an understanding of what a normal school ought to be like, and more importantly, that she remembers just how she wound up in this place. Unless her memories are also false.
Oh.
The situation's changed a bit again.
It's like, does she remember anything more specific than just, my parents sent me here? And that could very easily be like, conflated from my parents sent me to this boarding school.
Exactly.
I am now here. Therefore, my parents sent me here. Quod erat demonstratum.
So I've gotten on quite well with everyone, and I've already gotten used to having my choices made for me.
Oh.
I'm cool and normal.
Yeah.
I feel like you're making a mountain out of molehill here. Many people have their choices made by their parents for them from their childhood to their adulthood. Does Ron have parents?
Good question. Ibuki made a concerted effort to not let her own memories of her parents confirmed, appear in the middle of a conversation. She liberally pushed them out of her thoughts at the moment. Parents banished.
I have Miss Sakura. I only have Miss Sakura. Cool.
All I need.
Besides class rep, you've surely got the ability to make decisions on your own as well. You choose when to sleep and what to eat and how much to eat every day, right?
Koizumi smiled wryly.
Indeed, since I left my parents and came here, I've become capable of deciding all these things on my own.
The way Koizumi said that sent a chill down Ron's spine, as if some stray raindrops had finally landed and penetrated through to her back.
They told me to become a teacher after I graduated, even though I'd much rather become a reporter.
Ooh.
Well, teaching seems like it'd suit you. I'm a bit surprised you want to become a reporter, actually.
Yeah, honestly.
I feel like you'd be more suited for a sedentary job. Your parents' plans for you aren't awful. Ron, are you sure about that?
Yeah. Koizumi hugged her knee, shrinking down into a little ball.
But I've been ruled by all these not awful things my whole life. Even though I didn't like them, I could never come up with a good reason to refuse them, and I could never refuse them at all.
Ah, that feeling.
Why would you need a reason to refuse? Just say you don't want to. Hit the bricks.
Oh yeah. You don't like it? Tell him to shove it.
I don't know, but I always feel like I should oblige any request that anyone makes of me. Like becoming the class president. Really, Take-san would be much more suitable, but the class selected me for some reason, so all I can do is try my best in the position. After
Koizumi finished speaking, Ron found that she wasn't sure how to respond. She wasn't very good at dealing with personal problems like this. If there was a specific issue to resolve, she might have been able to contribute more. The rain fell harder and harder, showing no sign of abating, and eventually there was only this cacophonous sound of the downpour between the two of them.
Ibuki-san.
Koizumi broke the silence first.
Even though I recently just talked about how I'm always forced to make decisions by others, this time I chose of my own volition to confess to you, Ibuki-san. Be this close to you right now, I'm very happy about that.
Aww.
Maybe this will help boost my self-confidence.
Yeah, you go, girl.
I believe in her.
Yeah, done.
Well, you've definitely come to the wrong person. I cannot help you with that.
Self-confidence? Never heard of her. Only Miss Sakura.
I'm as far from confident as you could get. All of my decisions are rooted in Miss Sakura.
I was joking, but she just said the quiet part out loud. Thank you, Ron.
Then, Ibuki-san, can you become the source of my confidence then? Koizumi, don't learn from her.
Ron is a terrible example for you to follow. Koizumi, please, darling. Koizumi's feelings for her had far surpassed Ron's expectations. It left her confused about why exactly Koizumi would be so fixated upon her.
No way, that's not something I'm capable of.
Koizumi nervously clutched her hands tight.
I'm sorry. I'm acting like my parents trying to force you to do something you don't want to. But so, the class president clearly knows I'm not interested. Why is she still trying, then? It's okay, these are totally different things anyways. Right now, I'm more worried about when exactly they're going to come save us. I don't want to miss Yorino's dinner. Let's drink some tea while we wait.
Yeah.
Well, now we're really having a camping experience then.
Smiling, Koizumi extracted a thermos from the lunchbox and poured Ron and herself each a cup of tea.
Right, I think I've successfully helped the class rep relax. I'd like to ask her about Miss Sakura.
Back to business.
Anyway, class rep, when you saw Miss Sakura for the first time, what kind of condition was she in? Sakura-san, huh?
That wry smile. Koizumi thought as she took out the plastic box holding the biscuits.
I first encountered her in our dorm room. Sakura-san seemed quite normal to me. She was sitting by the window, and after she saw me, she waved hello to me first. But when I asked her about her name, it turned out she didn't even remember it. She told me that she saw all the other rooms had people in them already, so she decided to wait here.
Yeah, fair. Ooh.
Ah, Yuki-san, you should try this chocolate cookie.
Ooh, tasty.
Oh, thank you. What happened after that?
Munch. Ron drank some tea to go with the chocolate biscuit. Its crisp texture and the weight of the bitterness of the tea and the sweetness of the biscuit mixed together caused Ron to take another bite, despite herself. Yeah.
Yes, win her through her stomach. Oh, there was a registration sheet on the table on the first floor of the dorms, which told us who was assigned to which dorm room. Sakura-san said that she was waiting for me to arrive so that she could determine by method of elimination whether her name was Hinata Koizumi or An Sakura. Smart.
So, So Miss Sakura's name was on the registration sheet, but Miss Sakura, who spawned in, had no memory of herself. So someone knew Miss Sakura was supposed to be here in this school.
Right, the anomaly, I guess.
Right.
That's Miss Sakura for you. She's never panicked before in her life and probably never will. Oh, God. I think she definitely panicked a bit when you dragged her out of the shower room kicking and screaming. The class president has a real talent for snarking, huh? And to think she imagines that she's indecisive.
Yeah, that was a solid retort.
Well, once we got to the tunnel, Miss Sakura definitely calmed back down, and then she led me right back to the school with just a few words. Honestly, the other students and I are all very curious what the two of you have been through together. The passion that you express for Miss Sakura seems to be quite different from that of ordinary love. Because it is different from ordinary love. Just saying I love you doesn't begin to express the way I feel about Miss Sakura in my heart.
They're so normal, huh?
That so normal.
Koizumi poured Ron another cup of tea.
If it's possible, could you tell me a little bit about you two?
Starts taking notes intently.
Well... Strange. I'd never be willing to talk about Miss Sakura in front of most people, but when I face the class rep, it doesn't feel like such a big deal anymore.
Oh.
Here, give me a second to think about what to say. Wonder what that could mean.
Oh, Ron described a few uneventful snippets of her regular life with An to Koizumi. Even so, Koizumi still listened attentively, and occasionally let out a laugh. Ron didn't care whether the romantic story she was telling Koizumi would hurt her unreciprocated feelings either. Just being able to go over her happy memories with An Sakura again was a great comfort to Ron as well. Time passed quietly, and the two of them didn't even notice when the rain had stopped, only coming back to their senses when they heard some voices calling out from afar.
And then Miss Sakura... Hang on, do you hear that? Oh, yes!
Koizumi nodded vigorously.
I hear it. I think it's Yorino-san. come long enough. Let's go. I believe I actually enjoyed the conversation, class rep. What do you mean you can't believe it? I'm glad that you enjoyed it, Ibuki-san. I'm happy too.
Still mean to her, if despite generally being kind to her here. Still mean to her. Koizumi stood up. The clear light of the sun after the storm shone upon her, and Ran saw her smile as if she'd put all of her burdens down. Yeah.
Ibuki-san, once I graduate, I'll definitely tell my parents.
Why did the sound suddenly die?
I'll tell them that I don't want to be a teacher. This time, I'm sure I'll be able to tell them properly. 'Cause I've got Ibuki.
Koizumi's words pierced through Ran's brain, a pain unlike any she'd ever suffered before it took over her whole consciousness.
Hello? What?
Oh, dear. Ran knelt to the floor and fought to catch her breath. The sound of her breathing was so loud her ears rang.
Koizumi Hinata.
Ranibuki opened her mouth as though that would allow the pain inside her skull to stream out.
Ibuki-san!
Koizumi seemed terrified as well. She knelt down beside Ran without any idea what to do.
Ibuki-san! Koizumi, have we met her before?
Mm-hmm.
Is this like some afterlife stuff?
Everything before Ran began to twist and distort before finally fading into infinite darkness? Mundane theory? Did someone poison the chocolate chip cookies?
Hello?
Oh. Hello? As distant as Ranibuki was from other people, even she knew full well that the math teacher, Hinata Koizumi, was the kind of person who was accustomed to giving way to the desires of others. Someone whose first response was always appeasement.
Hello?
Other teachers frequently foisted off the work they didn't want to do themselves onto Koizumi, like she was a garbage can without a lid, into which you could shove any kind of trash. Oh, I relate to this picture so much. A head full of crumpled paper. One day, Ran found Koizumi crying by herself in a rarely visited corner of the school. She asked the teacher, "Even after growing up, is finding a hidden place to cry all anyone can do?" Koizumi Hinata was pained by these words. She knew the situation that Ranibuki had been in at school, but she never paid particular attention to it.
The situation she'd been in.
After all, nobody had requested that she do so. So she started trying to help Ranibuki. This was the first time in a life that had been completely decided by her parents that she'd made what felt to her like a meaningful decision. Helping Ranibuki. So that the two of them often met in a corner of the school to chat about anything and everything. Ran had also noticed that his teacher seemed to care greatly about her. Even on its own, such a thing was a great aid to Ran. Later, Ran met Ran and Sakura and became more and more outgoing. Koizumi was happy to see such a change in Ran as well. Koizumi gained great encouragement from witnessing Ran's transformation. She told Ran that she was going to make a change as well, that she would open her mouth for the first time to reject her parents' demands of her. "Ibuki-san, I'm definitely going to tell my parents that I don't want to be a teacher and I don't want to get married either." But starting the day after Koizumi expressed her determination, she never came back to school ever again. It didn't take long for the students to be informed that Koizumi had left her position due to getting married. For a while, the rumor mill went wild with this. Some people whispered that she'd gotten pregnant out of wedlock and been fired for it. Others suggested that she was a sexually promiscuous person. Rude.
Oh, God!
The students and teachers alike began to scrutinize Koizumi's previous actions in detail to find each and every fault in them. Even small issues that hadn't been worth discussing before had become evidence in support of Hinata Koizumi's obvious moral iniquity. Wow. Good God. Ranibuki was shrouded in these disgusting rumors. These statements targeted at Koizumi pained her own heart as well. She imagined the things that Koizumi must have experienced after defying her parents for the first time. Ran wanted to fight against the rumors for Koizumi's sake, to eliminate the false rumors that plagued the school, but she couldn't open her mouth. Ran hid herself in the secluded place where she'd met with Koizumi each day, crying and dry-heaving. Ran knew that she, like Koizumi Hinata, had the exact same lack of ability to make independent decisions. If she foolishly decided to try and make a difference, she would only invite destruction down upon herself. which is why An Sakura had to be by her side if she was ever to decide or change anything.
Okay, I recognize those characters.
Oh,
That was An Sakura's name repeatedly.
oh boy. Oh boy.
So, Ran did have people that she cared about before besides Miss Sakura.
Right. Koizumi was the first.
Do we think that all of the girls here are people who used to be in her life but left for some reason?
And they've just been kind of isekai'd to high school age?
Maybe it's not an isekai, but they're all part of her imagination?
Oh. Like, conjured up based on her memories.
And that's why all of them are super gay.
Correct.
They're all part of her subconscious.
Inside of you, there are so many gay girls. Inside of you, there are so many girls. They're all gay. You are gay. Ran freed herself from the memories. She remembered everything about Koizumi now.
Ibuki-san.
Koizumi tried to help Ran stand up, but Ran's body seemed to have sunken into the ground. She couldn't move Ran at all. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We'll come back to you in a moment.
Oh, well.
Koizumi? Late Showa
The
era.
late Showa era.
He was dressed, indecisive and hesitant, tends to go with the flow and other proposed ideas or suggestions, easily falls into confusion, faced with unexpected situations. Legit math teacher. Teaching math IRL and in school. Was Ran's math teacher in high school. Departed for a position at the school a year after meeting Ran. She was the only teacher who ever sincerely cared for Ran Ibuki. Spoke with An Sakura a few times to Ran and An started dating. Koizumi seemed nervous around An Sakura. Also expressed understanding and support for Ran Ibuki's feeling. Nervous around An Sakura. That's a curious detail we haven't discussed in story.
Yeah, still unclear also whether An was actually a therapist.
Yeah. Like, definitely classmate, definitely dating, definitely unhealthy level of dependence. But, so they'd show,
Maybe a healthier level at some point in the past.
yeah. So have we pegged anyone else's origin? Yeah, Hinata late. Late ace, eh? Yeah, just responsible for teaching language. Hello.
Tama would have to be like a grandparent, right?
Right. There's Tama. There's Tama. There's Tama. Daisho era. Projection of feelings for a young mistress. Tama. Bootsies. They're ultra adorable. We just need to see Tama and her bootsies. Okay. That was a lot.
It's fine, Koizumi. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh. Ibuki-san, what are you saying? I can't hear you clearly.
Ran trembled as she looked up at the high school version of Koizumi.
Well, in the end, Koizumi-sensei was still unable to refuse her parents' demand that she become a teacher after graduating high school. Just like how she was forced to get married after coming of age anyway. I'm fine, Koizumi. Okay.
Koizumi still seemed quite confused. She must have been wondering why, after kneeling on the ground for a few minutes, Ran had suddenly changed the way she addressed her. Ran got up and Koizumi followed her.
Koizumi-sensei's appeared as her high school self in this place. My brain was wiped clean of all memories of her, without any incongruity detected.
Curious.
That messed up or what?
Yeah. Ibuki, how'd you fall the way down here?
This memory's engraved so deeply, I'm certain that it actually happened.
Sai waved at them from the top of the cliff.
I haven't lost my memories. Rather, someone must have stolen them from me.
Ooh. Ran looked outside and didn't answer.
And is it the same for the other students as well? Do I have to reclaim my memories of each of them too, one by one? If so, then where are Miss Sakura's memories hidden?
Ran took a deep breath. She felt like she was approaching the true nature of this school. It was far from enough. Time for bath. Ooh. Ran scooped up hot water and splashed it over her face. In the end, under Saya's guidance, she and Koizumi had found a path that led back up from the bottom of the cliff.
And I got a little more of Koizumi too.
Yeah, let's see. Koizumi. It's expressed to understanding its motive.
Mm-hmm.
Portrait? Oh. My guilt for Koizumi-sensei merely stems from my selfishness. When I met her, I discovered that even someone that society deemed a mature adult and a teacher could be just as hopelessly deep in a sunless swamp of weakness as I was. It was always so reassuring to be able to speak to Koizumi-sensei. Aw. My guilt for her.
She cared about her so much.
She really did. That first sentence is sticking in my head. My guilt for Koizumi-sensei stems from my selfishness. Very curious. On the whole way, Ran paid attention to any possible changes in the forest on the other side. She didn't find a pathway that looked like it might let her cross the woods, though. If she were to try and force herself through, who knew what could happen?
Let's wait to try that until I have no better alternatives. I'm far from exhausting my options right now, especially after I recovered the memories pertaining to Koizumi-sensei. It's a huge step forward.
Ran dropped her shoulder into the tub, and the hot water wrapped her neck. The blood in her carotid arteries warmed as it rushed to her brain, bringing her great comfort.
Before this, I didn't remember a thing about Koizumi-sensei, but after she took so many actions which lined up with... Sorry?
Ooh, you're right.
Which lined up with my lost memories of her, I recovered those memories. Little things like the way she turned pages in a textbook by licking her middle finger, but more importantly, the last sentence she said to me before I regained my memory. That implies that...
The door of the bathroom suddenly opened, startling Ran, who jumped backwards with a splash. The person who stood in the doorway. The person who stood in the door was Koizumi, slightly hunched over with a flushed face and trying to cover her body as best as she could with her own hands.
Koizumi?
Well, that's a new expression. Oh.
Sorry, I wanted to wait until you were done, but fan service of my high school teacher?
Koizumi's eyes were flickering here and there anxiously, and her shoulders were pulled in tightly.
Okay, if this is actually from Ron's subconscious, I've got some more questions for her. They said that I'd gotten wet from the rain too, and that I needed to wash quickly as well, so then they shoved me in here.
Ron discovered her high school teacher crying one day and had a awakening.
Oh no. Right.
Ron leaned forward, using both hands to support herself on the edge of the bathtub.
They're completely right, actually. We should have been washing together from the start, sorry. As girls do.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I'm the one who's too scared to be with you, Ibuki-san. I know, don't worry, just hurry up and get yourself a hot shower. Don't catch cold standing there.
Koizumi nods and noticeably relaxes and starts showering herself. Ron laid down on the tiles of the bath and watched Koizumi from behind.
The Koizumi-sensei I knew apparently looked the exact same as she did in high school, except for her height. Her skin and a super thin waist that was noticeable every time she put on a tracksuit to lead us at the track.
Very specific detail. Koizumi washed her hair diligently. Her hair was very dense, and it took a lot of work for her to clean.
Koizumi-sensei should be 30 now. It's been many years since she was in high school. Why would she appear as a high schooler here? What's going on with the school's timeline? It's not even mentioning Indo. Indo's easily a whole century displaced from the present.
Timeline shenanigans, yeah.
Excuse me.
Absolutely had an awakening from Koizumi. Agreed, Chris. And this is the subconscious manifestation of Ron's awakening. Koizumi, after washing the soap suds off herself, entered the bath as well. Ron moved aside, making room for Koizumi. Aw.
After being stuck in the rain for so long, it's nice to take a hot bath.
Koizumi turned to the side and let the water rise over her shoulders. She looked toward Ron, and the hot steam made her face seem both rosier and more mature than usual.
I'm sorry that you were caught in the fall with me, Ibuki-san. It's okay.
It was worth it. Ron didn't dare look at her. Koizumi's face was overlapping with her face after she became a teacher, and the pressure pushing Ron to throw up was resurging once again. Oh no.
Yeah, I think she'd get the wrong idea if she threw up at her face.
Yeah.
Sorry, Koizumi-sensei. Be gone, impure thoughts.
Yeah.
By the way, Ibuki-san, why did you suddenly fall to your knees earlier? Was there something wrong? Do you think maybe you should visit Takei-san for a checkup after this?
Ron didn't know how she should answer. Not only was there no way she could say anything about the future, but more importantly, right then she felt like she wanted to cry. She'd never seen that teacher who cared for her so much ever again after Koizumi left her position. There was no doubt that it was because Ron didn't dare face her.
Aww. Koizumi-sensei, I'm sorry. I should have stood up and said something for you.
Oh, Ron. Ron bit her lower lip and forcibly buried her face in the water, dropped it splashed into Koizumi's face.
Ibuki-san, what's the matter? I'm sure Koizumi-sensei would forgive you.
Yeah. Bubbles rose from the bottom of the water to the surface. Koizumi looked at the ends of Ron's hair, refracted and distorted by the water into twisty zigzags, and reached out, wanting to touch her. Before she could make contact, Ron pulled her head up again, and the bangs of her hair pressed tightly onto her face, obscuring her eyes.
I'm sorry.
Forced head pat. Her voice trembled.
I'm sorry.
Bathwater mixed in with tears flowing down her face. Koizumi had no idea what Ron was apologizing for, and so could only choose to remain silent. Ron and Koizumi said their farewells to each other at the entrance to their rooms and returned to their own rooms. Sai was lying in her bed, and when she heard the sound of the doors opening, she immediately poked her head out. Wow, you look like you're out of it. Did you take a hit to the brains in the fall? Ron didn't answer her, and instead fell straight into her bed. Under the pillow was her notebook. Metaphorically, yes, Sai.
Yorno, have you ever met me before?
Eh? What's that question supposed to mean? There's no way I'd forget someone... Oh no. There's no way I'd forget... There's no way I'd forget anyone as depressing as you. Ron laughed a bit, her face buried deep into the pillow, letting out a thick, muffled sound.
Yeah, you're right. There's no way I'd ever forget anybody with a hairdo like yours either.
I still love their bit. Sai laughed as well, as if to answer Ron's laughter before she asked again. So, what's with that question? Not like you to ask a question for no reason.
It's nothing.
After Ron finished speaking, she heard Sai turning over at her in the upper bunk, followed by the lights to the room going out. Well, good enough. Good night. All right, well, you're probably exhausted after today. Get some rest. As she said, Ron was indeed exhausted. After Sai brought it up, she felt like she didn't even have the energy left to give an answer. She nodded before she realized that Sai couldn't even see her mood. I've done that. Ron closed her eyes, hoping she could get to sleep sooner rather than later. She also hoped that she wouldn't see Koizumi in her dreams. Koizumi.
Hey.
Ron didn't dream that night. She slept until she awoke naturally. She took a look at her phone. It was still pretty early. The other students were probably still be in their rooms.
Let's get up early today.
Yeah, rise and shine.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah. As Ron put on her jacket and got out of bed, she found that the sheets in the upper bunk had been folded and stowed neatly.
Oh, Yurino really does go swimming every morning, doesn't she?
Diligent. Ron staggered her way out of the room. She noticed something was off as soon as she pushed the doors open. It's very much the mood of getting out of bed. Yeah, let's do it. Open the door. Oh.
Whoa.
Raising her head, she looked at the dim lights of the corridor. Uh-oh.
There's no natural sunlight in this corridor, so this hallway light is usually always on. Because we're high schoolers, we don't have to worry about energy bills.
Yeah. Chris, I make so many faces on the stream and then I remember nobody can see it. Oh, that's a mood.
Oh.
I feel that. So much. So seen, Chris. Can only get up early if I have a reason to. Usually, yeah. Same.
Someday it'll be me.
Yeah. I believe.
Please, I need to get a job so I can purchase pictures of anime people.
Yes.
Is the electricity out? Is it dead body time?
Ron headed down the stairs and saw that all the students had already gathered there to discuss something. She didn't see Sai or An in the group, though.
Yurino probably went right to the classroom after she finished swimming. Miss Sakura...
Tama!
Good morning, Ibiki-san.
Tama meandered up to Ron as soon as she saw her. Why is that such an adorable word, meandered?
Yeah. Good morning. What's going on?
Maybe just because it's in reference to Tama that it's adorable.
Yeah, everything Tama does is adorable.
Correct.
The power to the dorm has gone out. Asakura-san and Take-san are working on trying to fix it.
Oh, hey, everyone's here. Ron could see the two of them discussing the situation next to the staircase, while Koizumi stood and listened attentively beside them. Good job, Koizumi. Morning, Ron-chan. Aya sidled up to Ron as well, casually laying her hands onto Ron's shoulders again. Anytime a situation develops here, we usually just let the three of them deal with it.
Yeah, that's so. They do seem reliable. Power outage. Where's the school get power from in the first place? A local generator? Or do they get power from outside somehow?
The moon. This is the first time we've run into a power outage, actually, isn't it?
Miss Sakura!
An approached the group from the direction of the washroom and took a place next to Ron. Good morning, Ron.
Miss Sakura!
Ron immediately approached An, taking both of An's hands with her own and leaving Aya unsure of what to do with her own arms.
Miss Sakura, how'd you sleep last night? You're hungry, right? Do you want breakfast? Let's have breakfast together, Miss Sakura. Oh, God.
Oh, so that's how it is, huh, Ron?
I have literally been acting like this the whole time. Right, Miss Sakura?
An smiled a bit. I'm so glad they're just owning it. I'm doing quite well. How about you, Ron? Yesterday must have been quite a day for you. Did you sleep well?
I slept great.
I slept so much better now that I'm here with you.
Look, Toyama, Miss Sakura cares about me so much.
Isn't that normal?
Good morning, Yuki-san. Not sleeping in today, then.
Miho's group seemed to have reached a conclusion in their discussions. They approached Ron as well. Miho! I immediately pounced onto Miho, imitating Ron by holding onto Miho's arm.
Okay, let go. Stop messing around. Baka?
Despite what she said, Miho made no move to peel Aya off herself. Still, Miho's token resistance gave Ron a small sliver of satisfaction. Miss Sakura would never. Miss Sakura would never.
Miss Sakura doesn't have a tsundere bone in her body.
Yes. Miho. Miho, the power is out, right? Is it fixable? Yeah.
Yes, Asakura-san said it wouldn't. That it's probably an issue with the generator, and that she'll go fix it after the school ends today. School day ends at noon. It won't affect classes. We don't know what we're going to do at lunch, though. Without power, a lot of the appliances can't be used, so Yorino-san might have trouble making lunch.
Don't worry about it. Zai's incredible. She'll definitely have something super delicious for us, even without electricity.
I sure would like to see what she could possibly come up with. Mark my words, if she starts boiling water to make us all ramen, I'm going to mock the heck out of her.
Oh, power's up? Let's have a barbecue for lunch then. Barbecue scene.
That actually does sound delicious.
She was looking forward to mocking her too. Woohoo!
It's been a long time since we had a barbecue. Let's do it like last time then and start moving the tables to the dorm building's entrance. Sakura-san, please allow me to help you with the grilling today as well.
Sakura nodded and gave Tama a pat on the head.
I'm suddenly really looking forward to lunch. Dang, your nose sure is competent.
Ran sat down next to Sai and began preparing for the first class. This time she'd written down the class schedule. Oh, diligent student.
There's 2 periods of physics class after this. Asakura seems like she'd be well suited to teaching this subject. So far, it seems that each of the students are only responsible for a single task at the school, though.
After the bell rang to signal the start of the class, it turned out that the person who headed up to the podium was actually Tama.
Ooh.
Ah.
Seriously, we're going to get a lecture on modern physics from someone born in the Taisho era?
But after she began lecturing, it turned out that Tama was a surprisingly talented teacher. She explained each of the topics in depth without skipping over any details. The pace of her lecture was a bit slow because of it, but even Ran could easily keep up with the lesson, despite not having any of the textbooks. Ran was only able to break her attention away from the lecture when the end of period bell rang.
Didn't even realize the class was over. Indo's teaching isn't half bad.
Yeah. Pleasantly surprised. Tama gave a long sigh of relief as she declared that the class was over before immediately trotting over to Ran. Oh.
Yuki-san, how was it? Was my lecture easy to follow? Chrono-san, can I ask you to show me how to properly prepare meat, preparing properly again at today's lunch?
A new student like Ran Ibuki surely made a valuable source of feedback for any educators seeking to improve their lesson plans.
Honestly, it was great. Teaching isn't an easy or simple job, though, but you did really well. How do you learn to teach anyways?
Sure. There's a lot of cutting that needs to be done for a barbecue, so work hard and learn well.
Thank you very much for your praise. Actually, it was because I completely didn't understand physics at all.
Aww.
And I really wanted to understand it, so I actively volunteered to be the physics teacher.
So diligent.
Oh, that's a good method.
Yeah, proud of you.
In order to not hinder my classmates, I studied very hard, and most importantly, Asakura-san helped me a lot. I see, so they all have selected their responsibilities at the school themselves. You just can't do without Asakura, huh, Indo? That's why I can really understand the feelings you have for Sakura-san, Yuki-san, worried about her. It's because I feel the same way, worried about her so much.
So much. Ran wanted to refute her comparison, but she decided to nod and let it pass instead. Oh gosh. So, Aya and Tama have joined Ran in the, pining club. I suppose Hinata is welcome in terms of pining for Ran, but that got weird. That has gotten weird for Ran now. Now that she knows that she's my high school teacher. We updated Tama, right?
Nothing new here.
Oh yes, responsible for teaching physics at the school. I think we had that before.
Huh.
A curious addition. Alright. Ran looked toward An, who was chatting with Koizumi and Aya. Occasionally Ran could hear the sound of laughter from their directions. She opened her eyes wide, feeling as if she'd been transported to the past. Perhaps that was what the reward she'd earned from these past 4 years of hard work. To be able to sit in a school uniform in a classroom again, together with An Sakura.
Aw.
Even through a small even though a small note of dissonance in her heart had begun to grow. The joy of seeing Ran and Sakura again was enough to override it for the moment, and she looked forward to the start of the next class period. So it feel like we forgot about, at the beginning, we had the odd dissonance of, we're here in a school uniform now, and we've also been searching for the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So everything we've learned about Koizumi seems to, I guess, make that fit into place a bit better?
I wonder if, in reality, Ran is also older than a high school student?
Yeah. Like, that feels like where we're heading.
Mhm.
We graduated high school, we spent 4 years doing dangerous abnormality hunting, searching for Miss Sakura. And now...
No one has ever mentioned abnormalities besides Ran, by the way.
True. Very true. Which is quite terrifying.
Well, doesn't matter. No matter what happens, as long as I'm with Miss Sakura, it's not a problem.
Everything's fine. After the physics class ended, both of the remaining class periods that morning were chemistry class, which I was responsible for, and which Ran had happened to miss yesterday. Even though Aya's lecture was a little less stellar relative to Tama's, her chalkboard notes were surprisingly organized and neat. Ran felt like she could learn the whole day's worth of lessons just by staring at the chalkboard. Huh. Still, watching Aya try to give a serious lecture, Ran couldn't help but crack up.
Seriously, the class period's only halfway over, and feels like Aya already wants out.
Relatable. When it finally came time for the class to actually end, Aya let out a great big sigh of relief, and her whole body slumped down. Then Aya immediately slammed herself into the empty chair just in front of Ran's seat. Oh, I'm so dead on my feet. This stuff's more exhausting than holding a B major chord for a whole hour.
Your analogy's going over my head, but I feel like you did a decent job teaching-wise.
Well, of course.
You got Take to write the notes on the board, though, didn't you?
Oh, you must surely be joking, of course. Of course I wrote them myself.
If you keep talking nonsense, I won't write the notes for you in the future anymore.
Miho gave Aya's head a light tap before taking out a black smartphone and handing it over to Ran.
Koizumi said she broke her phone yesterday, which reminded me that I should get you one as well, so you can contact us more easily.
Oh, where'd you get them?
Where do you get these? With the phone, even if you run into trouble again, you can call us for help. Where? Okay, thanks.
Ran turned the phone on. The address book was already populated with our classmates' phone numbers.
It looks like it's the absolute newest model of phone. I've never seen this model before.
Oh.
Where'd this come from?
Oh.
I don't know much about phones. Maybe I just don't remember this one. Well, for now, I guess I can only use this one here.
How do phones?
That I'll go find Miss Sakura so we can get a selfie together for my new phone's wallpaper. Yay!
Ran entered the address book and sent on a text.
Miss Sakura, I've got a phone now. Let's eat together at the barbecue at lunch. I'll do the grilling for you.
Anzun replied, "K."
Hey.
Sure, thanks. I'm looking forward to it. Ran put away her cell phone. Her heart was full of joy. Before she'd entered a relationship with An Sakura, she'd often exchanged text messages with An before bed, though at the time, the subject of their discussions had been anything but sweet. Especially if that... Excuse me? Excuse me? What?
Okay, so weird things have been happening to her even before meeting An.
Yeah. Especially after that time Ran's arm got cut off. Flashback? Okay. Thank good. Hi, Sai.
Why am I here helping you prepare skewers for the barbecue instead of enjoying the barbecue together with Miss Sakura Yoruno?
There's some kind of T-Mobile. Got an umbrella from T-Mobile yesterday. Oh. But Chris, does that umbrella have good coverage? Bunch.
Hey.
After the end of class, Sai had caught Ran trying to sneak off to have a conversation with An. Instead, Sai dragged her to the kitchen to help her prepare the materials for the barbecue. The rest of the students had taken the responsibilities of setting up the table and preparing the grill in the meantime. You don't do any of that work. You don't do any of the work at school or in the dorms, so the least you can do is help me out with the barbecue. Right, Take? Miho didn't hear Sai calling her name at all. She was too focused on cubing the beefsteak to answer. She'd actively volunteered to her help with the food preparation. After Sai had shown her how to prepare the meat and told her the amount they needed, Miho had poured her whole heart and soul into the work. Diligent.
Aw.
Love that for her. Just a lot more inefficiently than either of the other two would have expected. She's doing her best. Miho really wants to learn to cook. Every time she comes here to ask me to teach her, she takes it really seriously. Sai was very adept at making meat skewers, and finished one every few seconds. In comparison, Ron's motions could only be described as struggling.
The struggler.
Struggler.
Were you in the barbecue club in middle school or what?
Champion at Meat Bonanda. What kind of school would have a club like that? I enjoyed that club. Sounds like fun.
Me too.
Yeah. Sai's hands continued to work automatically as she looked at Ran. My little sister and I just held a lot of seaside barbecues before. Eventually I picked up a thing or two. Ran nodded before realizing that she just crafted yet another lopsided skewer. Yeah.
I'll let Yorino have that one once we serve them.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough. Miho taking it as seriously as Kiryu does with his odd jobs, yeah. Okay, that's enough. Sai grabbed Miho by the wrist, bringing her back to her senses. Step out of the trance.
What is it, Yorino-san? I haven't made enough yet, have I?
That's fine. You and Ibuki should just carry the skewers out and start grilling. Sai looked pointedly through the window, where Aya had already started pounding her fist on the table in impatience. Meat, 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 meat. Leave the rest to me.
I'm so embarrassed on Aya's behalf.
Yeah.
Yorino, you can make more skewers later. Come eat with us first.
If I went to eat as well, there'd be nobody to serve up more for you later. Sai took the knife from Miho and started chopping meat with a brisk rhythm.
Incredible.
Miho felt like Sai was using a completely different tool than the one she'd been using. Knife skills go hype. Alright, that's enough gawking. Shoo! Sai finished chopping up a piece of meat in an instant and wiped away the traces of mincemeat on the blade with a cloth. Take the skewers and start grilling already. They're all practically drooling outside. Meat, 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 meat.
Okay.
Ron picked up the platter and headed outside. Behind her, she could still hear the sounds of Sai's precise chopping.
On second thought, maybe I'll just eat the left ones myself.
Oh,
Aw.
feels bad for considering teasing, so. Kind her. Ron licked her lips a bit. The taste of cumin still lingered on her lips. Barbecue festivities had come to an end, and all that was left was the aftertaste and an uncomfortably full stomach for Ron.
I am absolutely stuffed. Let's go find Miss Sakura and take a tour around the campus to help digest.
Aww.
Oh!
Love that for them. Happy smiles. Ron put out her phone. Unlike with the previously broken screen, this time she could clearly see her love's face. The wallpaper was a selfie of An and herself, which Ron had taken while they were eating.
I can finally see Miss Sakura's face clearly. I should take more photos from now on.
Yeah.
Yubiki-san.
Tama pushed open the dorm entrance and came to Ron's side.
You know, what is it? I was wondering if you'd like to take a walk around the school with me, Yubiki-san. I'm sure there are still many places you still haven't visited, right?
You are precious, but you are not Miss Sakura. Ah.
You had the same thought as me, then. What about Asakura? Don't you need to follow her around or whatever?
What much?
That you find your book in this place. Asakura-san's gone to repair the generator. She said it was loud in there and the quality of air wasn't very good, so she told me didn't need to follow her there.
Oh, aka Shu. Looking like angelic. Oh.
Open the curtains, lights on.
Keep your eyes buttered till the end.
I still don't know what they meant by that. I see, so I'm back on option then. Yeah, sure. I've already decided that I don't need to be so impatient with trying to make a breakthrough on Miss Sakura anyway. Learning from other people and approaching the goal in an indirect way is also perfectly viable.
Keep your eyes peeled. Peel an orange butter bread.
I don't want to butter my eyes.
But what if I zest my eyes instead?
No!
On second thought, that sounds incredibly painful. I will pass on that.
Very well then, I'll be counting on you to be my guide. Okay, Ibiki-san.
This guy's what hurt. Yeah. Lose all HP. Get to the book. Oh no. We've obtained the book of Chris. Book of the Mermaid. Ooh. Investigation start. Tama!
Where should we go next, Ibiki-san?
What do we got here? Ooh, okay. We have 2 free time options. Got Hinata, Sai, Aya, and Miho. Alright. Vote now in the chat. Yeah! Vote now in the chat.
I don't suppose that Ron is in the state of mind to be seeing Koizumi again this soon.
Right. I don't know. I think my personal vote is still to go see Sai, because I just like Sai.
Yeah, she's really cool.
Yeah. Let's go see Sai, and then we'll decide whether to see the other lovebirds or angst with Hinata. Thomas said she wanted to take Ron to see the new changing room, standing opposite to the old shower room, so the two of them headed to the pool.
You still haven't visited them, right, Ibiki-san? If you ever want to go swimming, you can go change there.
Ibuki just, I don't want to. I really don't.
Not only have I already visited them through recall, I absolutely never want to go swimming ever again.
Decide. Approaching the pool, they discovered that Sai was, for once, not at the swimming pool. Oh.
Yorino's not here, huh? How rare of her. Even Yorino-san has to take a break occasionally. Plus, we just finished eating after all.
Oh, you know what they say about swimming on a full stomach?
Mm-hmm. Murder. Is that so? I can't imagine her choosing to take a break when it comes to swimming.
Meat bone on the... Tama took Ron to the new changing rooms as planned, but found that she couldn't open the... Oh no.
What's the matter? I can't get it to open.
What's happening?
Well, let me see.
Ron reached out and turned the handle a few times. It felt like it was stuck. She was quite familiar with the sensation.
Is Sai dead in there?
Oh no.
Door's not locked, it's just stuck. Only the locking cylinder's gotten jammed.
Are we gonna go 2 for 2 with murders at the pool?
Hi, Miki-san, how do you know? That's incredible.
Oh, okay, Tama, let me see. Jiggle. Yeah, that door sure ain't opening.
Just have some experience is all. So do we call Asakura to fix this? Looks like it'll be a busy day for Asakura-san today.
Ron and Tama returned to the poolside. Dark clouds blocked out the sun, making visibility somewhat poor.
Feels like a bit strange, though. Feels like ever since my arrival, Yorino's taken every opportunity possible to spend time in the swimming pool.
Curious.
Could it be that she's the victim this round, and she's already been killed and her body hidden?
Oh no. Tama sounded quite nervous. Ron could tell that she was just worried for Sai's safety, though.
Possible, but since it's Yorno, for all we know, she'll come floating to the surface of the pool anytime now, belly side up like a fish.
Ron couldn't help laughing.
If Yorno-san heard you say that, she'd be quite cross, I'm sure.
Ron is sure. That's right. That is why Ron said it.
Not like she can hear us anyway.
Unless she's dead.
And then she comes up from the pool.
So they hand dart out of the water and seized Ron by the ankle.
Nutty!
What the hell? I will take on the curse burden for you.
Yeah, exactly, Chris.
Ron fell over to the floor as the hand retracted back into the water. Shortly after, Sai rose from the water, hair disheveled. Well. I wasn't expecting this kind of entertainment when I decided to go for a bit of a dive. Sai brushed her bangs her bangs aside and grinned at Ron's consternation. Maybe I should pull you into the water and make you come float to the surface of the pool, belly side up like a dead fish now, eh? Do it.
Are you okay, Hibiki-san?
Even Tama couldn't help but laugh as she reached a hand out to help Ron up.
Every time I come to the pool, you just have to have some kind of surprise for me, huh?
Ron patted herself off and continued.
By the way, the training room's door seems to be stuck.
Make sure to brush your brain so it's nice and clean. Mood, yeah. My brain needs a good brushing. It's very dusty and
Washy
musty
brain.
and yeah. Oh, I know. I changed on the other side this time. I'll call Sakura and check it out later. That Sai kicked off the side of the pool and went back to swimming. Done letting you mess around with me now. Okay.
You are clearly the one messing around with me.
Tama laughed cheerfully, watching from the sidelines. It seemed she enjoyed the sight of Ron and Sai bickering with each other.
Well, let's go then, Ibuki-san.
Dust will accumulate in all those wrinkles your brains have. Oh.
Even though mine is so small and smooth and cute? Let's get out of here. And never come back to this swimming pool ever again.
Ron, I will make you come back to this swimming pool. I will fight.
Every time we have the option to.
Every time. to see Big Sis Sai bully Ron. Affectionate. As Ron followed Tama out, she thought to herself about Tama's predictions.
It's true, there really hasn't been a body discovered yet. They usually take their time with the murders, huh?
Yeah, and we just happened upon the Miss Sakura time right as Koizumi was pulling it off. Okay, so...
Yeah, really bad timing.
Yeah. Okay, so, first vote in chat gets in. Are we going to go see Aya and Miho? Although I'm not going to lie, kind of inclined to them. I feel like we had our... I'm curious to see how this would go. I feel like they've had their... Koizumi's had her revelation, so we need to... Plus, I just want to see these two again.
Let's head back to the kitchen.
Yeah.
Why? Did we forget something? It's just, we ate a lot just now, and even though I know you have your own system for the chores, I'd feel bad leaving such a giant mess for the girls who are stuck on duty today to clean up all on their own.
Oh.
Let's head back and lend a hand. He's so thoughtful.
Yeah.
You're right, Ibuki-san. Let's help where we can.
Ron, walking in front, pushed open the door of entrance first. She heard the muffled voices of Miho and Aya, who were apparently on duty for cleanup today, discussing something with each other. Instinctively, she slowed her steps, trying to hear their words clearly before she continued on. Miho seemed to have been interrupted, and was now only making indistinct whimpering sounds. Ron grew concerned, and quickened her steps again. Once they passed the corner, Ron and Tama arrived at the kitchen. There they saw Aya turn around to look at the two of them, while Miho covered her own mouth with her hands, her face burning red. Ron-chan, what are you doing here?
Are you guys keeping things safe for Twitch? Do Yuki-san felt that it'd be unfair to leave all the cleanup to you two, so she came to help. We're helping, right?
Oh, Ran-chan's pretty considerate, huh? How nice. I said with a smile before turning to Miho. How about it, Miho? Shall we invite the two of them to join us? Miho frowned a little. After a moment, she pulled her hand from her mouth.
Sure, of course.
Mm.
And let's begin cleaning, Ibuki-san. Sure? These two seriously, what were they even up to?
Four of them, working together, quickly finished cleaning up. Ran, though, felt that the mood had become awkward for some reason, so she and Tama quickly departed for the dorms together after that. You two have fun together!
Sorry about that.
After that, Tama took Ran to the lab room and the art room. These two rooms were rarely used, so the two of them didn't stay for very long.
Even though we only took a quick look, all the tools and equipment was there. If someone actually wanted to study properly here at the school, they wouldn't see any trouble for lack of equipment. The real problem is, of course, what's actually going to happen the day they all graduate. Is the school really just going to let them leave as normal? I don't know what else I could maybe see, but what's going to happen to Indo and Koizumi-sensei? Are they going to get sent back to their own timelines or something? There's no way, right? This ought to change their futures massively, or does it mean that the Koizumi-sensei I knew really did spend some time here when she was younger? No, that's even more impossible. No matter what the truth is, manipulating time is no small feat. If the true mastermind behind this whole scenario has that kind of power, then I'm in some serious trouble.
True.
As opposed to now, where I'm only in a little bit of trouble.
There's a mild bit of trouble. It's reversible trouble. If we die, we die.
Yeah. We're chillin'.
Yeah.
Ibuki-san.
And there's good barbecue, too. Tama shouted in a much louder than her usual speaking voice.
Sorry, I was just thinking about something. What is it?
Tama-chan outside voice? Tama held her phone tightly as her eyes wandered.
I'd like to go visit Asakura-san. It's been a long time already, but she still hasn't contacted me. She hasn't even replied to my texts.
Left her on red.
Aw. I don't know if this happened. Maybe in trouble and needs my help, or even...
Tama's breathing grew more and more panicked, as though her fears had already come to pass.
If it turned out that Asakura-san had been killed, She hasn't gotten used to it already? I'm not even though you're getting worked up. I'm sure that it's just that the generator is taking a long time to fix. You go on ahead if you're worried. I'll keep looking around on my own.
Tama made a hasty bow, then ran off.
So that's why she's been checking her phone over and over this afternoon, huh?
Now my schedule is free for Miss Sakura.
Oh, just me now. Where to now?
Oh, okay. Round 2. Oh.
Seems like it'll rain soon. Just one last place before heading back to the dorms.
Oh. That's an interesting choice to give us. Out of the blue. That is a genuinely interesting choice to give us out of the blue.
You think we'll get a bad ending if we constantly go for Miss Sakura? I don't know what good or bad endings would look like.
Yeah, honestly. Realistically.
Does this have multiple endings? I didn't look it up.
I do not know. Realistically, like our biggest choice we've had here are really these free time events so far. I'm uncertain. There are no achievements. I have 3 Asakura trading cards.
Nice.
And 2 Ran trading cards. Thank you, Steam Profile, for telling me that. There are no achievements, so no indication there. What do we say? On... What's the gut say?
Mm,
Do we follow up
I'm
with...
fine with any which way.
Do we follow up with Aya and see what the heck she was doing? That was interesting. What were you two up to?
Let's apologize for interrupting them.
Yes, I like that logic. Speaking of...
Speaking of which, the atmosphere between Aya and Miho and the cat there seemed a bit awkward. Maybe I should visit the music room and see if I can catch Aya.
Ron thought for a minute about the location of the music room before quickly heading to her destination. Before long, she arrived at the door of the music room. No sounds emanated from that room, though. She opened the door to enter and saw Aya standing at the window next to the piano. Where? Old white dudes hanging on the wall.
Of course, you gotta have them.
Indeed. An electric guitar laid across the piano bench. After noticing Ron, Aya smiled and waved at her.
You always have the guitar here?
Yep. But there's no power today, so I can't use the amp. All I can do is play the piano today. Even though I don't actually...
both.
Even though I don't actually...
Oh, he doesn't.
Never mind. Even though I don't actually know how to play piano.
Can't play the guitar now without, huh?
I could if I really wanted to, but not in the mood.
Then why not just go back to the dorms?
Oh, I'm sure you already know why, Ron-chan. That's why you came all the way out here to find me, wasn't it?
The kitchen thing, yeah?
I nodded. Thank goodness you two came to help. Otherwise, I bet I'd been stuck cleaning up with Miho for ages. Then I wouldn't have had the chance to skedaddle out of here.
I noticed what you two were getting up to, but I don't think Indo did.
Yeah, that's about right. Though I'm sure Tama-chan already has plenty of experience with that sort of thing herself.
Whoa. Seriously? With who, Asakura?
I mean, who else?
I'm pretty sure that's illegal? Huh?
I giggled. Tom was the same age as the rest of us, you know? But the question of age made Ron think about Koizumi again. Aya sat down on the piano bench and swung her legs back and forth, staring at the tips of her own shoes. Maybe I was a little too aggressive.
Oh my god.
Ron walked over to the side of the piano, waiting for Aya to continue. It's because I got the impression that Miho's starting to develop feelings for you, so I couldn't keep my calm.
Everyone in this not time loop desires me carnally? Ridiculous. Take is kind to everyone. She just cares about others, that's all.
I am becoming a harem protagonist, but I only have eyes for Miss Sakura. Yeah, Miho does indeed take the initiative to offer help when people around her are in trouble. She's capable enough to justify it, too.
Right, so what do you have to worry about? Take is just concerned about me because she sees how rough things have been for me.
She has also seen me naked. That happened. Let's not forget. School-nurse, strongly empathetic, actively to give help to those who are troubled if she can. To her, Ron falls into this category. Ron is indeed quite troubled. Ron harbors positive feelings toward her, but even Ron can't explain where these feelings originate. We got here.
So Miho was probably Ron's doctor at some point, maybe?
Oh, yeah. It's highly possible. Especially if, like, whatever they end up teaching gravitates towards what they were in the past.
Yeah. Actually, in the terms, didn't we see some sort of teacher figure for Ron before?
Term...
Miss Ibara?
Yukari Ihara? Pseudonym? quote-unquote action between Ranibuki and Yukari Ihara. She exceedingly sharp intellect and deep insight into certain cognition-distorting abnormalities. Cordial terms with her, receives her assistance. She sees many similarities between herself and Ran.
You think she's in here somewhere?
Ooh. Entirely possible. Yukari Ihara. Unwilling to reveal her true feelings. Thinks she's a rock star. Well, I get jealous easily, that's why. There's also something else I'm concerned about.
What?
The fact that I also want to help you and do nice things for you and, take care of you as well. Everybody desires Ran Cardinally.
I have 2 hands.
I have 2 hands, but there's 8 of you. Ran stared at Aya with widening eyes. She was starting to get nervous, and she couldn't help but keep trying to guess just what was going to come out of Aya's mouth next. Aya crossed one leg over the other, resting an elbow on her thigh, and supported her head with an arm as she watched around. And, not just the, kind of concern that exists between classmates or good friends. It's a stronger feeling. Like I can't let go of you no matter what.
Oh, what?
Putting on the
I
riz.
had so many people who cared about me in high school when I had turned out differently. Ah!
Oh.
Oh, I had Miss Sakura then, so there's no difference really. Just one of her is enough to make up for any number of people.
There's always the possibility that she did have these people, but Miss Sakura blinded her to them.
Oh. What's with all this sweet-talking all of a sudden, Toyama?
What? Come on, I've always been concerned about you, alright? I made an exaggerated, fawning expression before sticking her tongue out and continuing. Is it possible that I knew you from before? Like, when we were young, we built sandcastle together on the playground or something?
Childhood friend?
Ooh. Ran immediately went on high alert, expecting a serious headache to hit her, the way it had when she'd recovered her memories of Koizumi. She waited for her memories of Aya Toyama to reawaken. However, nothing happened. I'm just kidding. If I had ever met you and then forgotten about you, I definitely wouldn't be as so concerned with you here and now.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Ran quietly let out a sigh of relief.
Well, since you seem to be in a good mood, I'll take my leave then.
Fair enough. Oh, shoo. Thanks. We're coming to visit me, by the way.
Right, also, one more thing.
Miss Sakura. Huh?
Next time you two want to make out, try to find a place where others won't bump into you by accident. Things will get way too awkward otherwise.
Understandable. Yeah. Aya laughed again and flippantly waved a hand at Ran in response. Happy for them.
Where are you living now?
Ran sent the message to Anne and waited for the response. For less than a minute, a notification popped up on Ron's screen, indicating that Anne had replied. I'm at the observation deck.
Great.
Ron immediately rushed back to the dorms, dashed up the stairs, and pushed open the door to the observation deck. Ron?
Sakura!
Anne Sakura was sitting on the bench at the observation deck. Ron rushed forward and took her hands and sat down at her side, their shoulders pressing together tightly. Tama took you on a tour of the school just now, didn't she? How do you feel about this place?
Any location with you in it is a lovely place, Miss Sakura.
Ron's response left Anne at a loss for words. She hesitated a moment before she spoke again. I mean, besides me, have you been enjoying spending time with the other students as well?
Who cares? As long as Miss Sakura's here, it doesn't matter what everyone else is like.
See? Blinded. Ron intentionally exaggerated her feelings, hoping that An would quickly understand her positive sentiments. Positive sentiments. Positive sentiments. An's hands tightened in Ron's grasp, and she hesitated once again. That was another motion that Ron had never seen on her before. Then An laid her other hand upon the back of Ron's. I'm really having a lot of trouble accepting such strong feelings from you. Only the real An Sakura should be the one to accept your feelings, and I'm not the one you're looking for in your heart. So... An seemed to be pondering how to express her thoughts. So I don't have the right to accept them. Ron's expression darkened immediately, and An, upon seeing this, rushed to speak again. But if it's only memory loss that's causing this, and I still have the exact same self as the An Sakura you hold dear to your heart, then I'd be obligated to accept your feelings for the sake of the original An Sakura. Honestly, this has put me into a real... This put the current me into a real conundrum.
Yeah, just imagine getting a chapter in her point of view and it's just endless internal screaming.
What is going on? What is going on? Door kicked down. Miss Sakura, I'm here. How are you? No cares about them. I'm here with you. Nothing else matters.
Help her.
And Miss Sakura's internal commentary is just, what? What?
I see. So that's why Miss Sakura's been distancing herself from me, intentionally or unintentionally, despite what she said to me in the rain.
Understandable.
Originally, she was using her actual body, the one that belongs to Miss Sakura, as the justification of her love for me, but now she's considering it from the standpoint of her own thoughts and the differences in her personality instead, and it's led her to feel that she can't accept my feelings.
Let's see. Ron took into her palm the hand that An had moved away as well, and spoke.
Now, Miss Sakura, you could have just completely ignored me and continued to live the way you wanted to, but now you're feeling burdened by the need to properly respond to my feelings. The fact that you're considering my feelings at all is proof that you are the person I love.
Perhaps I'm doing this just for my own sake, though. After all, if I recover my memories, then the present me will no longer exist anymore.
What do you mean? No matter what happens, you'll always be...
An reached out with a finger and stopped Ron's words by sealing her lips. Ron, let me ask you this. Between the current me and the An Sakura who has recovered her memories, whose side do you stand on?
Of course I'd hope that you could recover your memories, Miss Sakura, but... Do I love truly? It's not the memories, right? It should be the person I'm in love with, not the memories, and the person in front of me right now is unquestionably Miss Sakura, so I should choose her?
How do I choose between Miss Sakura and Miss Sakura? A voice rang out in Ron's head, telling her that memories were unimportant, that two people who were together could always create more memories together. That was me.
It's not that simple, though. The experiences I shared with Miss Sakura were irreplaceable. Miss Sakura saved me from my suffering. I need those memories. But Miss Sakura...
Ron didn't know what to do. She didn't want to express any kind of refusal toward An Sakura. An cupped Ron's face in her hands. I'm sorry, Ron. The two of us should face this question together. Ever since you've come here, I feel like I've changed a bit as well. The things you've said have made me ponder things more. If we continue to live under the same roof like this, perhaps both you and I will change even further, and eventually we'll reach an answer to all these questions. Ron nodded. The way she'd regained Koizumi's memories had inspired her greatly. If they continued to accumulate, shared life experiences together, perhaps An's memories would return to her in the same way. Reasonable.
I understand, Miss Sakura. And also...
Ron leans in, bringing her face close to An's.
Would you give me a kiss, please?
Please. An couldn't help herself and giggled. Why are you so insistent on kissing anyways?
Well, because,
Ron was having trouble getting the words out through her embarrassment.
Because before, when I was upset or when I was crying terribly, Miss Sakura always kissed me to make me feel better.
Please. Even though it was the same excuse that Ron had used yesterday, An still acceded to Ron. Is that how you're feeling now? Upset?
Oh, yes, I feel upset all the time, every day. Please always be kissing.
An held the sides of Ron's head, then lightly kissed Ron on the forehead. Will that do?
Yes, it will.
Ron leaned over and hugged An's waist.
Thank you, Miss Sakura.
Ron and An arrived at the first floor of the dormitory together. As it happened, Sai and Asakura had also just returned to the dorms at the same time. Asakura-san, has the generator been fixed? Asakura nodded, carrying a toolbox in both hands. Yeah, well, it's been fixed for a while now, but there was something I couldn't carry by myself, so I had to take a bit of time to ask Yono for help. Took the opportunity to fix the door that Yono broke at the swimming pool as well. Ah.
So she's talking the door of the changing room at the pool.
What do you mean the door that I broke?
Huh?
I noticed that something was off.
Hey, where's Indo?
Tama? What about her?
She took me on a tour around the school, but halfway through the tour she said she wanted to go find you, so we split up. Have you not seen her?
Asakura blinked, her eyebrows drooping. No, I didn't. Maybe we just happened to miss each other?
Remember Indo said she sent you a text. Did you not get it?
Oh no. Did you kill Tama? Let me check. Asakura set down the toolbox and checked the pockets of her dress. She found nothing within. I seem to have lost my phone. Maybe I dropped it while fixing the generator. Possibly, but I'm gonna blame you for this one. I figured you'd probably be swimming, so I didn't bother to try and contact you with my phone. I'm sure I'd have noticed it missing if I did. Sai rolled her eyes at Asakura, who continued with a smile. To make up for it, why don't you do me a favor and give Tama-chan a call? If you want me to call her, just say it up in front and skip the pleasantries. Sai dialed Tama's phone number, but received only a notification that Tama's phone had been turned off. Looks like Indo forgot to charge her phone again. Gotta remind her about that more. Well, Tama wouldn't leave before she got to see me. Bet she's just sitting around somewhere because her phone died and she's afraid to run around on her own. Let me go check the power room again. Asakura picked up her toolbox, stowed it back in the tool room, and left the dorms. Sai looked down and noticed that Ron and An were holding hands. What, finally got a chance to speak, so now you're not letting her go?
Exactly, I'm never letting her go ever again.
Ever? Well, as long as you don't suddenly decide to go run away while holding her hand like last time. Still remember how you straight up set me flying when I got in the way.
Why are you bringing that up again?
An laughed in amusement as they heard the sound of footsteps coming from the stairs.
Everybody's here then. The power seems to have been fixed. Okay. I thought Miss Sakura and I were the only ones in the dorm. I've been doing my homework upstairs up until now. When I heard everyone talking, I decided to come down to see what was going on.
I'd say doing my homework, quote unquote, but Aya's probably still in the music room. In before Aya comes downstairs and says, Hi, I'm homework. Well, perfect time to take a break then. Let's go to the kitchen and I'll whip you all some drinks. Buki, this place has all the materials to basically make basically everything, by the way. Coffee, milk tea, black tea, whatever you could want.
Oh. Wow. I feel like Sai is single-handedly keeping life at school fun for everyone, all on her own.
Proud of her. She's cool.
The coolest.
The squeal of boiling water rang out in the kitchen. Along with the spattering raindrops from outside the window, it filled the dormitory with sound. Just as Koizumi said, when it rained here, it tended to rain consecutively for several days.
I'd like some black tea if that's convenient for you, Yorino-san. We're just not talking about how Tom is probably dead, huh?
Yeah. Tama hasn't come back. Asakura hasn't come back. Don't you usually go for the milk tea?
We just had barbecue today, so I'd like something less cloying this time.
Sai laughed as she reached for one of the higher cabinets of the kitchen. Afraid to gain weight? I'm sure Toyama wouldn't mind, even if he did. Get.
It has nothing to do with her.
Poor Sai, the single pairing here who gets to torment all the other couples affectionately.
Take and Toyama sure have a great relationship.
Sai repeatedly pulled at the cabinet door, which let out a series of clunking sounds.
What's wrong?
What's with all these doors breaking today? All the times for the door to jam. What a pain. On the day someone wants some black tea, too. Sorry, Miho. Looks like the door to the black tea cabinet is stuck. You want something else?
Wait, that whole cabinet is for nothing but black tea?
Black tea cabinet.
I guess I'll have some green tea instead, then. The cabinet's broken?
Sai craned her neck and checked the cabinet's hinges. It's not a big problem. I'll come back with a screwdriver and fix it real quick later. Then I'll have a green milk tea, I suppose.
Why?
Ron had shouted these words, startling Ann greatly. What?
Okay, let me try that again. Why?
What? Is something wrong?
No, just... never mind.
In the past, Ran and Sakura only ever drank coffee, the kind that was topped with lots of milk and sugar every time. Due to her influence, Ran had taken on similar tastes in coffee as well. Ah, yes. Naturally.
It's so weird to realize how different Miss Sakura is from before through little things like that.
So, Buki, what'll it be? How about a strawberry milk in a little sippy cup?
No, I'm not a kid. Give me an iced coffee with extra sugar and milk.
Gotcha. Sai had busied herself with preparing the drinks when the phone she'd set down at the counter suddenly began to vibrate. She turned her head to look at the screen while her hands continued to feed the coffee beans into the electric grinder. Asakura says she still hasn't found Indo. She says she's going to keep looking outside.
Indo-san tends to get anxious whenever she's too far from Asakura-san. I doubt she's gone far.
Everybody turns and looks at Ran.
The two of them have a very special relationship, don't they?
Everyone's still looking at Ran.
After hearing Toyama talk about how Indo and Asakura might have an intimate relationship, they may have been more curious what the nature of their relationship is. Ino-san really clings to Asakura-san, and Ino-san can be a bit dense on occasion, so Asakura-san takes particular care to watch out for her.
We know Asakura has a, perhaps less friendly side to her, which she's hidden well.
Hence, thought you all said that Indo's murders always tended to have extremely heavy-handed methodologies. Yes, exactly. That's part of why I'm saying she can be a bit dense sometimes.
Sai set down the green tea in front of Miho.
Thank you. Does she tend to walk into murders very easily?
Oh.
Has Miss Sakura ever drawn the culprit role before? I bet she would be perfect.
No.
Huh.
Ann shook her head and Ran sighed a sigh. Ran sighed a sigh of relief. There we go. Outside, the storm had started to intensify. Cracks of thunders could be heard outside the window, and the sound of raindrops on the windows, for some reason, gave Ran a craving for the coffee that Sai was preparing. Miho looked out the window, moving her fingers up and down the teacup she held.
Oh? Okay, are you worried about Toyama?
Ran saw her chance and she took it.
Yeah, I am. I wonder if she brought an umbrella with her.
Also,
Here's the
Toyama...
dairy.
Yeah. But hadn't expected Miho to answer in such a frank fashion. And her plan to make fun of her fell flat.
I'll go bring her an umbrella when she calls for aid.
There you go. Your coffee and Sakura's grade milk tea. Thank you. I had to add the
Maybe
sugar.
Aya is dead?
I had to add the sugar and milk beforehand since it's an iced coffee and we don't have any molasses here.
Molasses.
Let me know if you want more.
Oh, you should have let me add it before you started brewing the coffee then.
No, we're doing this right, Ibuki. Should have brought that up earlier, genius. Ron handed the coffee to An. Wanted to see if An still liked it or not.
Miss Sakura, why don't you take a sip? You used to like this a lot.
Is that so? Then I'll try it. An craned her head, using her hand to tuck her dangling hair behind her ears. As her lips touched the cup, they left gentle ripples on the coffee's surface. Genius ploy for an indirect kiss.
Oh, Miss Sakura's just way too beautiful.
Hiding from the storm indoors and enjoying her favorite drink together with An Sakura, Ron's heart gradually filled with a sense of security that she cherished so much. Such a shame that someone is probably dead. I hate it. An licked her lips a bit. Well, it's not bad. I don't particularly like it that much either.
I guess her body remembers how to enjoy coffee, but not her heart. Oh, you're probably just screwed it up then.
Meaned her. So I took a seat, holding a fruit tea of a different flavor than what Ron had seen the night they'd met. Well, looks like Ibuki's been officially demoted to the tap water only caste, starting from today.
Yoro-sama, I overspoke foolishly. Please forgive my trespasses and spare me.
Yorno appears in the cut-in, then perish. Ron set the cup and its last few dregs of coffee down. She was concerned. A lot of time had passed, but Asakura had yet to send any word to the group. As if in response to her concerns, someone pushed open the dorm door. Dorm door. Who is it? The person who entered, though, was
The door.
The dorm door. The dorm. Was it umbrella-bearing Koizumi?
Oh, is everyone enjoying tea together?
Sorry, you're late, Koizumi. As Koizumi limped her way toward the kitchen. Oh, she still has a sprained ankle. Miho, who was closest to the door, immediately rose to help her. Maybe we should have gone to visit her.
Yeah.
Because she still has a sprained ankle and is...
Oopsie.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Does the wound still hurt? A bit, but the medications have helped a lot. Wound? Oh, probably from falling down the cliff yesterday. I forgot.
I forgot.
If it's not serious.
Miho had Koizumi sit down in her seat to save Koizumi from having to walk any further, and she quietly thanked Miho. What do you be having? Koizumi?
Milk tea, please. Heavy on the tea.
Got it. We've only got green tea left, by the way. Will that be fine? Koizumi nodded, and Sai had just gotten up to start working when she was interrupted by the vibration of her phone again. This time it was an incoming call. Have you ever had green milk tea? I've never had. I'd imagine it would probably be good, but...
Yeah, I usually make mine with black tea. Maybe I should pick up some packets of green tea next time I'm in the store.
Yeah, feel like it'd be worth a try. Okay. Got it. The call was very brief. Sai spoke after she hung up. Asakura says she still hasn't found Indo, and she's worried that Indo might have gotten drenched in this rain. He's asking us to bring umbrellas and to help her look.
Great. I'll take the opportunity to pick up Aya as well.
Oh, you sure will, huh? Sai looked down at Koizumi, who was making as though she was going to get up, and gestured at her to sit back down. Sit your butt back down, girl. Koizumi, you should wait and rest here. You sit tight. I'll make you some tea.
Thank you, and I'm sorry.
No sorry, only tea drinky. Miho draped her hands on Koizumi's shoulders and even gave her a few pinches to serve as a sort of massage. Koizumi, who was apparently ticklish, pulled her neck in and giggled.
No need to apologize. Get some rest.
Oh, it's possible that Indo's dead. In that case, it might be time for the great detective Ibuki to make her debut once again.
Please don't make fun of me.
Ron grimaced at Sai, before realizing that, unbeknownst to herself, her attitude to the deaths of others around her had also suddenly changed while she wasn't paying attention.
They really aren't worked up over the possibility of a death at all. And even I don't panic as much anymore when thinking about their deaths anymore. Got used to this real fast.
Yeah. It's only been a few days.
I'm sure it's because Miss Sakura's with me.
The only possible reason.
Let's go, Miss Sakura. We can share an umbrella.
Ron nodded, stood, and placed both Ron's cup and her own in the sink. Let's go, Ron. Romantic search and rescue. Ron and An headed toward the pool, calling out Tama's name incessantly. But even after they reached their destination, they saw neither hide nor hair of Tama. Nothing came of a thorough search of the changing room, the old showers, or any of the other areas around the pool. Ron held the umbrella and stood shoulder to shoulder with An at the pool side. Ripples, large and small, rose momentarily to the surface of the water before the next raindrops' perturbations swallowed them. Ron, have we ever gone swimming together before?
Oh, sure. Though initially I didn't know how to swim, so I mostly just watched you swim from the shore. Same thing when we visited the sea. I just stayed on the beach myself.
You were so beautiful out there swimming. The sea? You're talking about the summer vacation of the first year of high school that you mentioned once.
We visited the sea a lot of times. A lot of things happened there.
Ranibuki sank back into memories. Moonlight, fine sand, and ocean waves. I've tried once or twice. My body remembers how to swim, but I'm not very used to it yet.
We should go swimming together later then. Pick a time when Yorino isn't present.
She must never know that I went swimming. She will never let me forget it. Yes, though I expect that Yono-san will always be present. After that, An shrank her shoulders in, as though she was feeling cold, and Ron immediately pulled her closer. They returned to the continued search for Tama Indo. The storm had made a mess of the courtyard, turning it into a sea of mud. Ron pulled An forward with heavy steps. Every step the two of them took left mud stuck to the soles of their feet.
Be careful, Miss Sakura.
It's okay. I'm fine. The two of them leaned on each other for support as they continued to search for where Tama might have gone. Let's check over there, by the bushes and trees.
Okay. Without realizing it, we've shifted to looking for a corpse. Everyone else probably also searching furiously in those places where it'd be impossible for a living person to hide. It's a bit unsettling.
Just a bit. They looked around the trees in the courtyard and found nothing, so they decided to head to the gymnasium. Ron put away the umbrella as they stood at the gate to the gymnasium. Before they entered, she took out a stack of napkins from inside her jacket. Used one hand to support herself against the wall as she cleaned the mud off her shoes with the other. Ron also knelt on the floor, cleaning the mud off her own shoes as best as she could with the napkins that Ron had handed her.
I'll have to wash our shoes thoroughly once we're done here.
Yeah. Oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, there's Tama.
Hi, Tama. You okay, girl? Ron turned and pushed open the doors to the gym. The sound of the rain completely covered up the creaking of the old iron doors. Even though it was still theoretically day outside, the rain clouds covering the sky had turned the gymnasium completely dark. Let me turn on the light. An searched over the wall for a while and found the light switch. Oh? The snap of the switch, Ron's field of vision. Is this place okay? Oh, yes it is. That's just the dialog box. Was flooded with bright light.
What's that?
Ready for a body discovery? Before her eyes had even adapted to the light, she saw the vague silhouette of a person sitting on the stage in the center of the gym. Ron quickly rushed forward as her eyes gradually adjusted to the light around her. As she approached her destination, her steps grew slower and slower, while her heartbeat rose terribly in contrast. At the end, she was all but shuffling as her legs. As she reached the stage, she stared at the corpse before her with a ringing sound in her ears. Oh dear. Oh dear. Tama Indo's body was facing her, but her head was facing the opposite way. Her face
That's
had been
impressive.
twisted all the way around to her back. Bad news bears! Oh, God! Thank you for lingering on that game. That's... Tama!
Tama?
Facing correctly. Makoto Asakura stood next to Tama Indo's corpse. She was soaked from head to toe. Rivulets of water fell from her hair, chin, and fingertips to the point where several small puddles had formed next to her feet. She stood there motionless, with her back to everyone. Ron could only guess what expression she wore now. Was she crying? Or was she furious? After discovering the corpse, An messaged everyone else about it, and they soon arrived at the scene. Now the gymnasium's floor was covered in muddy footprints. Ron, though, remembered clearly that when she and An had arrived at the gym, the floor had been pristine.
Even though it was pretty self-evident, it's an extremely important detail.
As Ron thought to herself, she looked around. She could tell from everyone else's expressions that they'd all been stunned by the horrible way that Tama had died as well.
It'd been even more terrifying if the corpse had been divided into multiple parts, perhaps, but something like that most likely would have been done to conceal the crime, or, in other words, it would have been more logical for the culprit to do that than this.
Staring at the corpse, Ron felt a sense of fear from deep within. The way that Tama had died implied even more uncomfortable possibilities. Time gradually passed, but seemingly besieged by overwhelming silence, none of the students seemed willing to declare the start of the investigation out loud.
They're all worried about Asakura, surely, as well as the fact that this must be a murder unlike any they've ever had to deal with before. But we can't wait here for her. I'll break the ice this time. Let's begin by investigating the corpse. We can put her back to normal after investigating.
Ron spoke and broke the silence, and everyone raised their heads to look at her.
Sure. The school has a designated area for corpses, so we can grab a body bag and carry her over once we're done.
Oh, a designated corpse zone.
Oh, thank goodness Miss Sakura's case was solved so quickly. I don't know if I could have handled seeing Miss Sakura in a body bag. Then let me investigate the corpse. I'll tell everyone about the things I noticed so we can save time. Nina was so close to each of you that I'm worried seeing her like this will distract you from the investigation, so leave it to me. I'm pretty sure it's not their first time seeing her like this.
Yeah. Miho nodded in agreement with Ron's statement before looking toward Asakura and gesturing at Ron.
Right, I should probably ask her to be safe. Asakura, you heard, right? Is what I'm proposing acceptable?
It always comes back to Miss Sakura, doesn't it, Ron? Doesn't it, Ron Ibuki? Asakura gave Ron a single glance and then turned aside and headed to the steps at the edge of the stage. She sat down on the steps and lowered her head, her hair forming a dark veil that concealed her face.
Alright, I'm gonna take that as acceptance then.
Yeah. Ron stepped up to the corpse.
Worried about her.
Worried about her indeed. Ron stepped up to the corpse and took a quick look over it.
There's a lot of interesting points here.
Yeah.
Before investigating the details, let's check out the most conspicuous element here, the neck. The whole head's been turned all the way around.
Her dang head ain't faced that way. Ron-chan, how'd her neck get like this? I had trundled over to the corpse, and the rest of the students slowly crept in as well. For a moment, Ron felt like she'd become the school's biology teacher, giving a lecture on the corpse to the class of students around herself.
The neck muscles and skin display exaggerated torsion lines, which seem to be the result of an overwhelming torque force. Pull up torque and their force. Would have been far easier for the culprit to twist the head like this if the culprit had slit the victim's throat beforehand, but the culprit chose rather to use overwhelming force to rotate the muscles, neck, and spine all at once. So Tama probably wasn't conscious at the time of death, right?
I hope not. They torque her force until she torsion. To summarize.
Why it always the neck, though? First with Sakura, now this. What do you people have against necks?
Every day I'm dorking it. Dorking it? Just how much force would it take to twist the whole neck around like that?
Is it like in those Special Forces movies? Where the super agent just breaks someone's neck from behind by twisting their head?
As quizzically spoke, she pantomimed the action. It was a terrible imitation. Had she not verbally described her intent, nobody could decipher just what her clumsy little wiggle was meant to be. Oh no.
Impossible. Nobody could possibly twist a living person's neck like this with their own strength alone. Even wringing an infant's neck like this would be difficult. Why do you know that, Ron? The vertebrae would shatter, and the fragments would be very likely to pierce the skin.
That's a very very specific example, Ron.
Compared to inflexible bone, twisting the skin and muscles requires a completely different order of magnitude of power.
My chiropractor adjusted my neck manually today instead of using an adjuster. Oh no. I'm not gonna lie, the movie Neck Snap did cross my mind. Relatable? Yes. I feel yes.
Besides, those from-behind ambushes you see in movies do sort of exist in real life, but they work by impact force rather than by twisting.
Say, also, we've seen enough Rambo movies. Hey, how's that? Enlighten us.
Basically, it's hitting the target's neck with your two hands from different angles, resulting in vertebral dislocation. The goal is to cause the major veins and arteries in the neck to become compressed or even to break, leading to dizziness or death for the target.
Discombobulate. Smack. Obviously, it did not happen that way, since we're very glad for that. Wow. You learn something new every day. Ron-chan sure knows a lot. So I guess all the time you didn't spend hanging out with An, you spent it stupid in front of a screen staring at medical documentaries. Medical documentaries.
You two sure can find something to snark about no matter what the situation is, huh?
Distract. Yes, Ed gets it, Distract. Discombobulate. In short, discombobulate. Ron stuck in a glance at Asakura. She was just sitting there, motionless.
Anyways, point is, to twist Indo's neck like this, you have to use some kind of force.
It's the neck torsion device.
Some sort of device.
Oh, yeah.
Any ideas? You all should know better than I do what kind of equipment you've got available in this school.
Sai turned to shout toward Asakura. Oi, Asakura! There's a bunch of junk in the tool shed, ain't there? Any of it useful with this kind of thing? Asakura raised her head. Her eyes were only half open, and the strands of her hair were plastered on the tall bridge of her nose. Rainwater dripped down from the corners of her eyes, making her look as though she was weeping. Even if there was, I couldn't possibly have come up with the idea of using them to make someone's head go on a carousel ride. She sounded no different than usual. We're just talking about things that spin. Electric drills, screwdrivers, pipe wrenches, crowbars. Those heads are way bigger than the heads of screws. Nothing these tools could do for that. Asakura finished, Ron nodded, and then brought herself so close to the body that her nose was nearly touching Tama. Personal space. This sure is Tama.
And let's start investigating the details.
Okay. All right. We are autopsying Yangtze River style. Corpse front. Turn around. Ooh, we can rotate. Wrist. Rope.
Oh.
The skin of Tama's wrists had split, revealing blood-red muscles underneath. The remaining intact skin near the wounds were heavily inflamed. Those markings looked like they were left by rope. Ron nodded.
Markings on the wrist are quite irregular. They look like scratches from repeated abrasion. If we had a real coroner, then they could figure out if the wounds had been made before or after death. Unfortunately, we don't.
Side note, since I brought it up, if you haven't played Murders on the Yangtze River, you should. Game's good.
They were made when she was alive, right? The wounds look like they were caused by struggling. I thought of that too, but... if the victim tied up Tama's hands then dragged her away, that'd be a different story.
Investigate it. Ron knelt on the floor in front of Tama and looked up for a closer inspection. Sorry, I'm just visualizing that Ron actively just kneeling in front of Tama's, just sitting there, just looking up like,
Yeah.
hello? Tama Indo's blood had soaked through all of her clothes. Ron reached out and squeezed her collar and managed to squeeze liquid blood out of it like a sponge. Oh.
There's a blood loss with blood splatters all over the clothes. It's consistent with this method of murder. Probably related to the state that Indo was in when the culprit killed her.
Understandable. All right. Oh, boots! Bootsies!
So cute!
Bootsies! Oh! Ron half knelt on the floor, leaning over to get a look at the soles of Tama's shoes.
Very clean. Normally you'd think that since it rained outside, the shoes ought to be quite dirty.
Oh boy, biohazard, indeed. Necks should not do this when you squeeze them. She straightened herself and picked a boot up by the sole. She felt something soft and wet in the palm of her hand. She looked at it. She couldn't tell exactly what it was, other than that it definitely wasn't mud. It was greenish and slightly rough.
Not sure what this means, but let's make a note of it.
Continuing
Is she
to
maybe
hold
in the
that-
forest?
Ooh, maybe. I need to see that again. Greenish and slightly rough. Moss-covered rock. Odd.
Hmm.
I'm gonna stare at her boots. Thanks, I.
I just feel that there's something not right going on here. The boots are too clean. Indo-san really loves that pair of boots. She always cleans them off very diligently before placing them back in the shoe cabinet every time she returns to the dorms.
Cute little bootsies.
Yeah, I can tell. I made a note of how adorable they are.
Indeed.
If the bottoms of the shoes are clean, then Indo was carried here by someone? Or was she in this room from the beginning? Or the killer cleaned her shoes up for her? There's a lot of possibilities. Let's wait until all the clues have been collected before I try to make sense of them.
Okay. Oh shit. I didn't mean to do that. Alright, now, we rotate. Or alternatively, we turn around every now and then. I get a little bit... Hi, Tama. That's your back. That sure is your back. I'm not gonna look at your face. Ron stood on the stage and bent down to inspect Tama's back. Like the collar of her outfit was soaked in blood. The rest of the traces of blood on her back were all small dot-shaped splatters.
You see, combined with the unbelievable amount of blood on her ventral side, I think I have an idea of what sort of position Indo was at the time.
Ron bent down and continued inspecting Tama's corpse from the waist on down.
What's this?
She reached out and touched the area under Tama's waist, just a bit above her buttocks. There was some moisture there. Ron pulled her hand back and smelled it. Oh.
Smell of grass. Plants for sure.
Aya, please! Wow. Ron-chan really is a dog person, huh?
Puppy girl confirmed. You might as well drop the person part if that's the metaphor you're going with.
Ron stood up, mentally reconstructing the position that Tama must have died in. Whoa. God. Ron.
Despite her condition, Indo's face still remains adorable.
Well, I guess we're gonna...
Ron!
Tom. Ron stood behind Tama, but despite this, she was looking right into Tama's face. The discrepancy left her very uncomfortable. Her face is still adorable, though.
Oh, thank goodness her eyes are closed, otherwise I'd be even more nervous about taking a look at her.
Oh, yeah. Tom's hair was wet with rain, and the tail end of both her eyebrows showed signs of abrasion, as well as clear bruising. Tail end of her eyebrows. Ran ran her hands up and down the marks on Tom's face and felt a granular texture on her finger.
Oh, so that's how it is.
Granular texture rope burn?
Sphenoid bone fracture, and based on the touch feel, probably a radial fracture.
Wow, Ran knows her stuff. Ran Sensei, I have a question.
Since when was I a sensei, Ran? Anyways.
What's a spheroid bone? Ran tapped Aya's face in the area between the sides of her forehead and the outer ends of her eyebrows.
That part of the skull is the sphenoid bone. Don't bother to write it down, just know it's a thing.
We'll be on the test, Professor. Fuck off!
Thank you, Don.
I take your curse burden. Aya all but collapsed into a laughing pile, giggling nonstop till Miho gave her a knock on the head.
If you look at it like this, though, you can see that the marks on the sphenoid bones on both sides are basically symmetrical.
I accidentally said spheroid bone, didn't I?
We simply don't know.
I did.
There is no way to check.
Bone orb. Ran took a moment to imagine how the culprit could have twisted Thomas' head. She enumerated to herself the requisite factors, the actions the culprit had to take, the strength they would have needed, the required environment, and other such considerations before she spoke again. In mind palace mental math being occurred here.
Sakura, do you have an oversized pipe wrench here?
And by oversized, I mean like Max from Advance Wars. Oversized. Pipe wrench? I see what you mean. It's a wrench meant for measuring the diameters of pipes. Pull that to its maximum width and it can just about clamp a human head. A pipe wrench? What's that?
It's a wrench for pipes.
Oh, that's... Ran stepped up to Aya and placed each of her index fingers on Aya's sphenoid bones.
Imagine a wrench, except you can adjust the positions of the clampy bits on the head.
Ran pressed the pointer finger of her left hand to Aya's head while she moved the same finger of her right hand back and forth to demonstrate.
Basically like that. The clampy bits can expand and contract, and there's markings on the handle that let you measure the clamped object's size.
Clampy bits. Oh, I remember now. I think we used something like that when we were fixing those super thick water pipes and ventilation shafts.
That's right, the whole dorm got flooded that time, so everyone worked together to help Asakura-san fix everything.
Old dorm got flooded, oh goodness. Ran lowered her hand, folded her arms across her chest.
Then we'll have to check the tool room after that. If there's a big enough pipe wrench there, it should be possible to twist someone's head that way. Just clip right onto Indo's head and then turn her by the handles, probably.
Concerning outcome.
If you're all familiar with that tool, then the culprit probably can't just move it about haphazardly. It'd be suspicious to see it appear somewhere if it had no reason to show up.
Kusumi rubbed her own neck before speaking.
It sounds like it hurt a lot.
Yeah. The emptiness of the gym and the rain from the outside had allowed the cold to permeate Ron's whole body. After scanning the other students' expressions, she gave a careful answer.
Yes, if we weren't in this school, this kind of case would definitely be treated as a revenge killing. But none of you could possibly be hiding your hatred for your classmates, right? Of course not.
Miho's answer came swiftly, and Ron nodded. Her reaction had warmed Ron a bit on the inside.
Aw, I hope not too. She cares them.
Yeah, Miho cares and is honestly trustworthy.
Anyways, what exactly the murder weapon was isn't as important as what restrictions a weapon capable of doing this to the corpse must have on it. Things like the physical build the user must have had, the amount of space they needed, and the amount of time it took to make this wound. All this combined with the state of the corpse can easily nail down the word murder weapon and give us a lot of information. That's why most murderers avoid highly notable methodologies and tools. The more unique your crime scene is, the more constraints you put on yourself, and the easier it is for others to deduce the truth. And that's also why most police investigators would conclude that a scene like this must be the result of either a revenge killing or some other kind of special case.
You sure are great at repeating things that everyone else already knows out loud, Ibuki.
Can't help but feel like you're darning me with faint praise. Feel free, I guess. Most importantly for this case, there's a massive constraint that limits the culprit this time, and I still haven't seen that constraint manifest at the scene so far. And that is?
Rain and mud? Ron raised a finger and grinned. Oh, yeah.
Something must have been used to hold Indo's body in place.
That's a very special case. That's a very, very special case indeed. Ann nodded. It seemed that she'd been waiting for Ron to say that for a long time. When the culprit turned the murder tool to twist Tama's head, her body must have been fixed in place somehow. Otherwise, Tama's whole body would have just rotated along with the head.
Like a carnival ride.
Yeah.
That's right. Miss Sakura's right as always. Gold star, you're so smart.
So smart and so beautiful and... wow. Not biased much at all, huh? Oh, no. I only thought of it after Ron brought it up. Ron's the real genius here. Miss Sakura's praising me.
Well, everything I learned from you, Miss Sakura, so you're the actual genius here.
Get a room. Yes, you're all geniuses. Can we just move on already? Anything else that needs to be said about the murder implement?
Actually, that's it. There must have been some sort of a body-affixing thing, but there's nothing like that around here, so the corpse must have been moved here. And the murder method was definitely a complete forced rotation of her head. That's about it. But terrifying. Must have been grueling for both the murderer and Indo-san. I'm worried that the culprit enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And
understandable.
we are doing this for fun.
I mean... Oh. Cheek. Pat your
Squish them?
cheek. Don't squish
What's
them.
this?
I noticed that there was a slight bulge to Tama's right cheek. When you compared it to the left cheek, the difference was clear. Actual squirrel behavior.
Oh.
Pressing a hand at Tama's face, Ron thought she could feel something in Tama's mouth cavity. What's wrong? Sticking your fingers in Tama's mouth. I don't know.
I don't know. Just in case, I'll check it out.
Ron pressed her right thumb into Tama's mouth and started fumbling around with it. It wasn't very effective, though, so she put her pointer finger in as well, and slowly pulled Tama's mouth open. Ibuki, what the hell are you doing?
Nothing, just, Miss Sakura, could you help shine a light in here, please?
Yes, squish them when you solve the murder and she's alive again. All right. I trust you, Ron. Ann pulled out her phone and turned on the flashlight. The two of them pressed their heads in close to look into Tama's mouth as though they were dentist and assistant.
Just like in those weird mobile games.
Oh, this is... Tama's tongue had snapped at an almost right angle, bending toward the right side of her mouth cavity and causing her cheek to bulge slightly. Oh.
I hate that.
Yeah, that's awful, actually. Why would her tongue be in a shape like this? I have learned something. I didn't know that was a thing that could happen. Let me... Oh, sorry.
Let me see.
Ron reached out with the index finger of her left hand and repeatedly massaged Tama's tongue. She bit her tongue as she died. Oh. No, seriously, what the hell? Because we had covered her mouth for some reason and was blushing fiercely. Damn, Professor Ibuki. Koda heard the commotion and looked up, but quickly lowered her head again.
Shush, I've almost got it. We're not taking it out of her, right?
Ron extracted her finger, now coated in saliva from Tama's mouth. Koizumi immediately hobbled over and brought her a handkerchief.
Here, Ibuki-san?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Ran took the handkerchief and wiped off her hands as she spoke.
I figured it out. Indo's hyoid bone is broken, and since the tongue itself is a highly flexible and tensile muscle, it contracted under high tension, snapping the muscle, which caused the tongue to flop to one side like that.
Oh, that's awful.
What does this have to do with the murder method? So, what does this imply exactly?
She was conscious when she got, wrenched? Perhaps?
Let me check something else.
After Ran finished wiping her hand, Koizumi tried to retrieve her handkerchief, but Ran motioned for her to hold on. Then Ran bent down and took a detailed look at Tama's neck.
Neck muscles have clumped together after they were snapped. The mass is too thick.
Noises. Ran tried to peel the layers of muscle, but only got blood all over her hands for her trouble.
No good, the muscle are in the way. I can't see the cervical vertebrae.
I hate that. She straightened herself and wiped the blood off her hands with a handkerchief before handing it back to Koizumi. Here's her handkerchief back. Thanks, dear. Thanks, Sensei.
If Indo's C2 or C3 vertebrae were dislocated, that plus the situation with the tongue would basically be enough to confirm that she was strangled while alive.
Ah. She clearly has other injuries on her, though.
Right, so it's very possible that the strangling was just to render Indo unconscious rather than to kill her immediately. Manual strangulation can be a bit challenging, but there's still some of us here could pull it off. With the aid of ropes, any of us could have strangled Indo. Bone fracture and vertebral dislocation are commonly seen on the corpses of those who died from hanging or strangulation, and it's common to diagnose the cause of death based directly on these factors.
Even if there really is a problem with the vertebrae, it might have been caused by the twisting of the head.
That would leave completely different markings from that of strangulation. Oh. All I need to do is cut the neck open and see. We can't do a proper autopsy, but cutting the corpse open shouldn't be a big issue, right? Girls are used to it, right?
Ran threw the last question at Miho, who nodded in response.
Sure. I've done incisions like that a few times before. It won't be a problem.
Oh, thank goodness. This is a normal thing.
Oh, you even got experience with this, huh? And once we're done investigating the corpse, we can take her out back and start cutting.
Oh, start cutting, yeah. The first time we dissected a corpse, it was mine, you know? That means I can confirm that Miho has been inside me at least once before.
Down, girl.
Yeah, why, yikes.
If I had any interest other than to get you back as soon as I could, I'd throw up so many times because of it.
There's a problem, though. Why'd the culprit have to choke Indo out? Was it just to prevent her from resisting?
It's possible. Maybe this whole horrifying neck-twisting situation was actually intended to cover up the signs that she'd been killed by strangulation?
Brutal.
Let's wait until Take's done her autopsy before we come to any conclusions.
Okay, get cutting. What else we got here? Rotate? Rotate. Oh, we can end. My bad. Rotate. Alright. Ready to proceed.
Alright, that's all the evidence the corpse can give us now. Next up, I'll have to ask everyone where they were at the time of the incident.
Tama must have died between the last time you saw her and, well, just now, when we discovered her corpse. It's a massive span of time.
Doesn't matter, we don't need to confirm the culprit immediately. We can use all the clues provided by the corpse and slowly implement new restrictions that eliminate potential culprits one by one.
I can do it if it's with you, Miss Sakura. Rotato. Put up, boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Ran folded her arms in front of her chest, leaned by the edge of the stage as she spoke.
I'll start. After Indo and I split up, I went to the music room and visited Aya. Then I returned to the dorms and stayed with Miss Sakura for a while. After that, I went downstairs and had tea with Yorno and the others.
Live. No, wait. There's a hidden assumption you're smuggling in here, which said you and Indo actually split up at all.
Smart.
For all we know, you killed her right then and there and used her phone to text Asakura. Ran saw that Asakura was staring at her, head tilted in an unsettling way, out from under the shadows cast by the messy strands of her hair.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I don't want to... don't want to deal with that.
It's possible, but once I split up with Indo, I immediately moved on. The time between my visits to Aya and Miss Sakura wasn't very long, and it wouldn't have been long enough for me to kill her. I don't have exact times for when I talk to her anyways. If you really don't believe me, feel free to extend the timeline all the way back to when I left with Indo after the end of the barbecue in the first place. Furthermore, let's make a note of when Asakura received a text from Indo's cell phone as well. It'll serve as an important reference to whether or not it was sent by the culprit.
Ran spoke calmly and with confidence, less because she was trying to prove her innocence to Sai, more because she really wanted to get Asakura's piercing gaze off of her back. Understandable.
Anyway, this is the first step. Let's take it slowly. I'm sure my suspicion will be dispelled in time.
I can only imagine how terrifying an angry Asakura would be.
Mm-hmm.
Sai nodded and gestured at her to continue speaking.
It's your turn now, everyone.
Ooh.
Ooh.
We decide. What could it be? Let's see here. Throw it up the bottom. Alright. Sai? After I ate, I rested for a bit in the dorm before I headed to the pool for a swim. I was there up until Asakura came to get me. You and Indo ran into me at the swimming pool, didn't you? Ran nodded in response. After Asakura found me, we headed to the power room together. I helped her put the cover of the generator back on top of it. Then we brought the toolbox back to the pool and fixed the broken door to the changing room. Then it was back to the dorms to have tea with the rest of you. It's a point of suspicion here. It'd have to be the time period while I was swimming by myself. That period overlaps heavily with the span of time during which you claimed you were with Indo, so I feel like my suspiciousness is relatively low. Let's just go straight down the list. Aya? After eating, Miho and I cleaned up the kitchen, since we were on duty for the day.
If you know what I mean.
Wink, wink. And then you and Tama-chan showed up to... Wink, wink. Help, right? We did no such thing. Ran nodded. And then I went to the music room to practice, but I ran into Ran again there later, so I'm probably not that suspicious, right?
Oh, sorry. Hangouts also count as alibis.
Yeah, that's interesting, because that very distinctly would have changed if we had monopolized Miss Sakura's time. Aya, you were practicing your guitar in the music room, right? Were you able to practice while the power was out? Now that's a hard one to answer. Yeah, I couldn't actually play my guitar today, so mostly I performed some, mental practice.
Even though she seems suspicious, I know she only ran out there because she didn't want to be in the same place as Miho, so maybe she really isn't as likely to be the culprit as it seems.
We could be suspicious of her if we didn't visit her, I suppose. Interesting. Now, Miho, your turn.
After we ate, Aya and I cleaned up the kitchen.
And nothing more.
Just as Aya said.
And that's all.
Though shortly after, Ibuki-san and Indo-san showed up together to help as well, so the cleanup went quickly.
Yes.
Afterwards, Aya went to the music room, and I went back to my room to do homework. That's suspicious, though. All the way until I heard your voices and came downstairs and met with you all. Finally, of course, we all had tea together.
This is true.
But what if she climbed back into her room from the outside so that she could go downstairs?
Ooh.
Since you've spoken to both me and Aya, we'll go ahead and get the body bag. Sure.
Okay, have fun. Bye-bye.
Let's continue the interrogation.
Alright. Makoto. After I ate, I stayed with Tama-chan in our room for a while. Then went to the tool storage room to grab my tools and left to fix the generator. After fixing it, I found that the generator's cover was too heavy to lift by myself, so I went to the swimming pool to find Yorno. Returned to the generator room, put the cover back on, then I went to the swimming pool to fix the changing room door. Afterwards, everything was as Yorno said. I suppose this qualifies as an alibi for me.
Mm-hmm. It took a while to fix that generator, huh?
Asakura said nothing in response. Concerning.
After eating lunch, I went directly to the nurse's office because my feet were uncomfortable. I found the medicine that Take-san had previously mentioned to me there. I rested there the whole time after the medicine was applied. After resting there for a while, I headed back to the dorms. That's where I've been up until now. Koizumi-sensei couldn't have possibly done it, right? The injuries to her feet are very real. She can hardly walk by herself.
Yeah, I think it's safe to discount her.
At the least, she's easily the least suspicious.
Aside from... After lunch, I rested at the observation deck by myself until Ran came to see me. After we finished conversing, we went downstairs, where we ran into Sai and Makoto. After that, we had tea together in the kitchen.
There's no way Miss Sakura is the culprit.
I mean, I don't have an alibi for any part of the period before you came back to see me, Ran.
Right. Oh, so far it looks like nobody's completely free of suspicion.
Ooh?
But I can rank them in order for now, from least to most suspicious.
Asakura, once the body bag's here, we'll put the corpse in together.
The class president is the least suspicious. After that, Miho and Miss Sakura. The two that I'm most suspicious of are Asakura and Sai.
Top 5 most suspicious culprits. Number 1, Asakura.
Of course, this only takes into account the alibis. A holistic analysis performed later might cause the order to change again, but let's table that until later.
Come on, just say something.
Wait until we collect all the clues from investigating we can. We haven't reached the point where we need to pin all our hopes on pure deductive reasoning and logic yet.
I heard you.
You finished interrogating everyone? We brought the body bag. Yeah, we just finished.
Sai stepped forward and took the body bag, calling to Asakura. Asakura, come give me a hand. At the other side, Asakura heard Sai's call, stood up, and stepped up to the stage. Sai was waiting at the bottom of the stage, holding the body bag on the floor with its opening facing up. Asakura stood behind Tama's back, placed her arms through Tama's armpits, picked her corpse up, and slowly deposited it in the bag.
Nice and snug.
Yeah. Ooh.
From Asakura's perspective, she must be staring right into Indo's face.
Ooh. The two of them didn't need to use a lot of effort to seal the corpse into the body bag. Sai picked up the body bag in a princess carry and handed it to Asakura.
And I'll go with Asakura-san to deliver the body and to try cutting open your neck to get a better look, as Ibuki-san suggested.
I'm coming too, Miho. I can't let you get in other girls without me around.
I'd like to head back to the dorms to organize my thoughts and take some notes. There's so many things to ponder.
Take care, Koizumi. Sensei.
How about you, Yorino?
Sai wiped the dust off her hands as she spoke. Cozy, yeah. I'm gonna do some investigation and see if I can't clear the suspicion for myself. Wanna come with me, Ibuki?
Forget it, I'm investigating with Miss Sakura.
But only Miss Sakura. I don't know what I was expecting.
Miss Sakura, let's go look for the original scene of the crime. The place where Indo's body was affixed.
Sure. Let's visit some locations that might have clues along the way as well. Yeah. Let's go. Oh, hello. Hmm. Oh, you still good? There we go.
Hmm.
What we got here? Tool room. Oh, trees. Electrical room. Let's see. Okay, you still good?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Morgue. Okay. Can't go to the pool. Yeah. Oh, that's me. We're looking for the original scene of the crime, right? Let's go to tool room. I want to see this giant wrench. Ron pushed open the door to the tool storage room. This time the door hadn't been locked. She supposed that someone must have borrowed the key from Asakura. We saw briefly in here before we reloaded our save. As she thought these things, she entered the tool room. She couldn't find the large pipe wrench they'd mentioned, though.
Presumably the culprit hid it somewhere after using it. If they ran into somebody on the way while returning it, that would have been an awkward conversation.
If the culprit really did encounter someone, maybe she'd just kill the witness as well. Ron immediately turned to look outside the tool room. Thankfully, nobody was there.
And let's get out of here quickly, Miss Sakura.
I won't let you die. Trees.
We were talking about how the culprit needed to use something to fix Indo's body in place. The trees of the forest would be excellent for that, if you ask me.
Yeah, that is the obvious answer, isn't it? Indeed. Trees are everywhere, so you don't even need to do any extra preparations.
While I was investigating Indo's back, I noticed some plant-like scents on it. At that point, I was wondering if she'd been bound to a tree at some point.
Why didn't you tell everyone back then?
I thought of it, but I was afraid that'd make the culprit realize I was onto them and try to destroy the evidence. Well, that doesn't seem very fair.
Yeah.
I suppose that the culprit probably already destroyed all the evidence they could before returning anyways.
Fair.
But even then, they would likely have become more careful if I'd said it.
Ooh. Ron led on to the grove of trees not far away from the gym. Are we going to start looking from here then?
Yes, this is relatively close to the gym, so the probability that the culprit struck here is higher. If it was too far away, then the risk of being spotted while carrying Ino to the gymnasium, and the time required to do so, would put too much pressure on the culprit. Our focus will be trying to find a tree with abrasion marks from rope.
Aunt nodded and allowed Ron to take her hand and lead her into the forest. This time there was no rainstorm, and Ron wasn't dragging her forward with wild abandon. There was just the clean and refreshing air after a bout of rain, the pleasant sound of grass scrunching under their feet. Ann looked at the silhouette of Ron's back, looking as though she had thought of something. But I imagine that the emotion she felt was quite different from Ron's. I imagine?
Hi.
Is it me, Ronnie Kubi?
I used to hold hands and take strolls around campsites just like this before. Oh, in those days it was always Miss Sakura taking the lead.
You and I took trips together quite often then, and always to rather distant places too. Places like what you mentioned before, the seaside.
That's right, my personality was horrible back then. I was a gloomy crybaby. It took me to all kinds of places to cheer me up, Miss Sakura.
Did we get any studying done at all, then? Ron laughed as she walked, her shoulders bobbing up and down.
We only went during vacation days. Miss Sakura, look there.
Just two girls on a date looking for a murder location. Ron halted and pointed at the trunk of a nearby tree.
Didn't think we'd find it so quickly.
Whoa. The bark of the upper trunk had been scraped away, exposing the pale white phloem Other parts closer to the ground, including a region right above the roots, showed the same marks of abrasion. Some of the bark had even come off entirely in large chunks. Ron circled the tree to confirm the abrasion marks went all the way around the trunk. She imagined how the scene must have looked as the ropes were tied to the trunk and then used to raise Tama up. She knelt down and found that the puddles of mud on the ground were full of rainwater and blood. Ron guessed that Tama's legs must have been bound just above the tree roots. Tama's shoes must have been responsible for kicking off the large missing chunks of bark.
Ina was likely positioned with her back facing the tree, and a rope tied to a high part of the trunk, with the other end tied to her wrists. This rope was used to raise her into the air.
Oh no, the idea of someone taking me to a bunch of cool places to cheer me up is making me yearn. Oh, correct though. Going to quaint little places out in the middle of nowhere is ideal.
Adding,
Yes. This rope's length would have allowed Tama's toe tips to touch the ground. After that, it'd be time for the second rope to shine.
the second rope was used to tie her legs to the trunk of the tree just above the ground. That way, the first rope, which was longer, would cause Indo to dangle forward, suspended diagonally in midair.
Well, that feels Danganronpa 2 Case 3 style.
Mhm.
But if that was the case, if Tama began struggling, she'd start swinging back and forth, wouldn't she?
That's right. I suspect this is why the culprit had choked her out, or one of the reasons why. Tama was probably very compliant at first since she was unconscious. Once the pain had increased to the point where she could wake up and start struggling, her head had probably already been twisted to an irreversible degree.
Oh, hate this. Ron covered her mouth. She could tell that her voice was trembling. Of course, Ron had witnessed many worse ways to die than this. Worried about her. But this wasn't the same. Was it just because Tama Indo was so adorable? Was it because of the sheer amount of manual operation required by the murder method? All of the above. She didn't have a clear answer, and her ignorance left her uncomfortably anxious.
Don't think about it. Concentrate.
Ron raised her head, her fingertip passing just slightly over the uppermost marks on the tree.
Based on this height, it would have been hard for anybody shorter than me to tie the ropes there. Even if it was me, I bet I would have needed something to stand on to tie the ropes securely.
So, I are out then.
Probably. You're so much shorter than me after all, Miss Sakura.
But you're still so beautiful. Is that bad?
Absolutely not. Why, it's the exact perfect amount of height difference for a couple, in my opinion.
Ron laughed again. As expected, whenever she spoke with On, her frustration instantly evaporated.
Anyways, it's not just that height is needed to tie the ropes. After the culprit placed the pipe wrench on Indo's head, they had to rotate it a whole 540 degrees. We know the exact degrees.
That's a lot of degrees. I hate it. Somehow worse than DR2 Case 3. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That meant that at some point, the wrench had to be pointing straight up, and if the culprit wasn't tall enough, they might not be able to reach the far end of the wrench's handle, which would make it quite difficult for them to continue.
What a cruel and complicated method, though. The culprit wasn't motivated by hatred. Why wouldn't they have just gone with something simpler?
Girls can do anything.
Yeah.
Could it really be? Well, let's not worry about the why for now. No matter what the culprit was thinking, the facts remain the facts. All we need to do is use them to find the truth.
Yep. That's 3 solid cranks. 180 degrees. Right. We can definitely be certain that this was the original scene of the crime. After that, the culprit, after killing Tama, had to move her body to the gym.
That disqualifies Koizumi, whose injuries make it impractical for her to commit such a complex murder. Even if she'd somehow endured the pain with sheer willpower, she'd have shown some sign of discomfort while we were having tea together. She had no signs of moisture on her body either, and she didn't seem particularly uncomfortable. If she was just acting, or she left herself enough spare time to recover from her exhaustion, well, then we'd be looking at a really complex situation.
Yeah. It feels like we found a lot of clues all at once.
Yeah, we'll have to find some time and sort through all of them later.
Together with you, Miss Sakura. Electrical. Ran and An had arrived at the generator room. Sakura, Sai, and the deceased Tama had all visited this location, so she thought it was worth inspecting. After she opened the door to the generator room, the overwhelming noise inside kept her from entering the room. Through the door, she could see that Sai was in the generator room, gesturing for her to wait outside. What are you two doing here? After leaving the power room and shutting the door, Sai started chatting with Ran.
This place has got to be worth checking out, right? You're here too, after all.
My current position as a suspect mostly comes from having spent so much time working with Asakura. If you assume that she and I were co-conspirators, I become even more suspicious. So I came to see if there was a clue that might exonerate me in the generator room.
Did you find anything?
Sai shrugged. Didn't find Jack. Imagine you want to look for yourself anyways. Sai handed a ring of keys to Ran. There were 2 keys on it. Don't forget to lock up after you're done looking, and to give the keys back to Asakura afterwards.
Oh, sure. What are the keys for locking the door? What's the other one for?
Unlocking, obviously. On key, off key. That makes total sense, right? No.
Huh.
Sai waved as she left the generator room and disappeared from Ran and An's sight. Ran? Hearing An call out to her, Ran immediately turned her eager gaze onto An. Do you think Sai came here to get rid of evidence?
Oh, I consider that too, but probably not. After all, before we departed, she asked me if I'd like to come with. If I'd said yes, she'd been totally exposed.
True? An held her hands back, behind her back, as she turned to look at Ran.
Miss Sakura's face is just so overwhelmingly beautiful.
Focus, Ran! But she could probably guess that you were going to refuse and go with me instead, though. True? Ran's eyes widened and she turned her gaze toward the direction that Sai had departed in.
Maybe.
In any case, let's just check the power room for now.
Let's go.
Oh, power! There's a lot of noise. Let's finish investigating quickly and leave. In a room? Old-style generator. In the center of the generator room, an old-fashioned electrical generator with a tarnished copper shell rumbled loudly and showed signs of rust all over. The generator was fairly large, reaching up to Ran's shoulders in height and well over 4 meters in width.
Impressive that Asakura is able to repair even something like this. Doesn't look like anything's wrong with it right now.
Good at her job.
I don't know all that much about generators. I can't even tell if this is a diesel generator or is this some other kind of fuel.
Okay, very good. What's in here? On the left side of the generator room was a small door wide enough for a single person to pass through. Ron approached the door and turned the handle and found that it was locked. Ah.
Well, the second key was for this door, then.
Ron used the other key out of the key ring to unlock the door. Behind the door was a narrow storage space. A set of steel shelves reached up all the way to the ceiling, and some objects on the floor were covered by a dust-proof tarp. Oh, okay. We're in deep now. Shelves, electrical. It's a bit crowded with the 2 of us here. I wouldn't want it any other way, Miss Sakura. What's under the tarp? Ron pulled away the tarp on the floor, revealing a coil of cables.
A lot of them. Just as I said, the school is amply supplied with more or less every possible thing they could ever need. But if a real disaster ever took place, would Asakura really be able to replace the school's power cables?
What's on the shelves? Ron scanned the room. Various spare parts for this generator occupied the shelves, but she didn't spot a screwdriver or any similar tools anywhere among them.
Just a place to store spare parts, I guess. Oh.
Ron had noticed as soon as she entered the room that the dust was disturbed in a strange way. Walls and floors were very clean, with very little dust, but there was plenty of dust on the shelves. One of the stacks of tarps particularly stood out. There was clinging dust everywhere on and around the stack, except for the tarp on the top of the pile, which was quite clean.
Someone must have taken the tarp that was originally on top, then.
Tarped. Anything else for us to see here? Electrical. Oops. I think we've seen. Yeah, I think that's all there is to see in here. Let's just get a room to park. Is it time to leave the generator room? Curious.
Looks like everything's cleared.
Yeah. We learned that someone used a tarp here. I guess it's time for us to leave. Leave. Investigate it. Alright. Time to go to the morgue. So this is where the morgue is, huh? Indo hadn't brought me here yet. Well, she had now. She has now, technically. I completely stole that line from you, sorry. Aunt had brought Ron to a room in the corner of the school building. There were no desks here, just steel beds and some tools for dissections. The body bag had been folded neatly and set to one side. A white cloth covered Thomas Indo's face. Her neck had been cut open, and her head rotated back into its normal orientation. Neither Miho nor Aya were present, only Asakura, alone.
Where to start the conversation?
Yeah.
So, you come here often?
Fair trade. The two of them had also gone to look for the original scene of the crime.
Ah.
Ron turned and shot Anna. Please help me out here, look. Anna nodded and whispered into Ron's ear. It's fine. Don't worry. Say whatever it is you want to say. Miss Sakura's whispering in my ear. Ron took a deep breath and
ASMR.
And then spoke.
So, you said that Indo's gone? No.
Normally avoiding this topic would probably have been the best way of respecting Asakura's feelings. But Ron wanted to find the truth of Indo's death, and that meant that even Asakura needed to be considered as a potential culprit. Asakura raised her eyes and looked at Ron. Every night, before going to bed, the last thing I saw was always her face. She always waited for me by my bedside, up until I fell asleep. Every morning, first thing I saw was always her face, too, as she put on her clothes and greeted me with a good morning. Ron listened patiently, waiting for Asakura to finish waxing rhapsodic about Tama. Whenever I made the slightest sound from waking up unexpectedly at night, she'd climb down with bleary eyes from her bed to ask what was wrong and to reassure me that I could fall asleep once more. Cared meticulously for me. Now, she's not here anymore. She hadn't given a direct answer to Ron's question, but Ron got the point.
Before this, has Indo ever been killed before? I'd be surprised if not.
This is a good question, yeah. Asakura nodded, and Ron nodded back, deciding not to ask about it any further. Okay, so not the first time. She approached the bed. The surgical lamp's light cast a waxy pallor over the skin of Tama's corpse, clearly revealing the wound as well.
No, the vertebrae were dislocated after all. That means she was strangled to the point of unconsciousness while she was still alive, and the cracks and the strapes here were left when her neck was twisted.
Ron pulled the cloth off of Tama, revealing her naked body underneath. Ron looked over it a few times, but couldn't find any unexpected wounds. Ron raised her head, looked at Asakura, and hesitated a bit before speaking.
We'll be going now?
Asakura nodded, and Ron quickly pulled on out of the morgue. We're going now, bye!
Bye!
Ron and An returned to the dining room of the dormitory, sitting down shoulder to shoulder. They'd been searching the school for clues ever since Tama's corpse had been discovered. Two of them needed a break.
Miss Sakura, we've gathered a great number of clues from the corpse and other places, but they're all jumbled. We need some frameworks by which to organize them, perhaps a timeline or something.
Less thinking, more dinner. Sai jump scare. Sai appeared behind Ron and gave her a pat on the shoulder.
Dinner already? Time's really flown. Is it really time to focus on food, though? I mean, Indo's still dead.
Well, if you've already figured out the answer, feel free to announce it before we eat. Sai walked toward the stove as she spoke. If you can't, then set it aside for now so you can eat properly. Otherwise, you'll collapse in hunger, then we'll have to take care of you as well.
I suppose you're right. Except that it won't be any of you doing it because I will only accept Miss Sakura's lovely ministrations.
Rana just finished speaking when she heard footsteps approach the dining room, one after the other. Oh, Ran-chan's already here, eh? Were you looking forward to dinner that much?
Just a coincidence.
After I entered the dining room, the other students gradually arrived as well. On the other side, Sai had already started up the stove and began to prepare dinner. Ron used this period of time to exchange ideas and clues with the others. Miho and Aya had found the original scene of the crime as well, but they hadn't discovered anything that Ron hadn't. Kuzumi's difficulties with walking had made it difficult for her to find clues, though, and she had little to contribute. She mostly just listened to the ideas that Miho and Ron were putting out. When Sai finally served dinner up, its fragrance drew everyone's attention, and they all wordlessly agreed to put the discussion on pause to enjoy the food.
The atmosphere is still fairly light and cheerful.
Concerned about
It's a shame Tama had to miss on this dinner.
Yeah. Ron thought as she shoveled fish fillets into her mouth.
Lightly fried fish fillets.
Delicious.
The classics noted murder mansion scenarios. After a corpse appears, there's always a scene where everyone's eating dinner together at the same table.
Yeah.
And in those scenes, everyone's always so serious and hostile towards each other. Sometimes they decide it's too dangerous to eat anything other than canned foods, or one of the characters will jump up and start provoking others or making random accusations. Something like that's going on. And it happened here, though, that's for sure.
Without Tama there to do it for her, Asakura was left to serve herself. Looking at her expression, it seemed that she was mostly calm now. Miho and Aya conversed on and off with each other, with Koizumi joining in on occasion.
Forget it. I guess there's no need for me to be so uptight either.
Yeah, when the mood calls for it, we just...
Miss Sakura, would you like some of the fish? These fish fillets that Yorino made are delectably tart. You absolutely must try one.
I will feed you. Directly. An's chopsticks, fully loaded with bamboo shoots, halted in midair as she looked thoughtfully at the bowl of fish fillets and thick tomato soup. Ooh.
Miss Sakura?
Fish fillets and tomato soup. Ron, what did my favorite foods used to be in the past?
I mean, as far as I remember, as long as we were together, you pretty much ate everything cheerfully.
Really? Well, unfortunately, I seem to have become a bit of a picky eater for now.
It's Moe. It's probably your nose fault. So, which foods have you developed an aversion to, Miss Sakura?
Taking notes. Fish, for starters.
Oh, that's fine. I'll eat all the fish then. I love fish.
Sai, leaning against a chair, overheard their conversation. Thought everyone loved fish, though. If you don't like them, Sakura, I'll try preparing them a different way next time. Got.
Yeah, if Miss Sakura doesn't like it, then don't try to force her to eat them, Yorino. Not everybody is ocean spawn like you. It's perfectly normal not to like fish. Defense squad.
You... Didn't you just say you love fish? I swear, you're a nut when it comes to Sakura. Be more normal when you eat my damn food.
I don't think she's capable of being normal.
I mean, she's so
What's
normal.
wrong with that? Oh, what if Miss Sakura's my favorite?
I think it's nice. I wish my relationships were as straightforward as Ron's. I grinned and leaned up next to Miho. Right, Miho?
No idea what you're talking about. Can't actually tell if these two are arguing or not. Oh, whatever. They investigated together, so I doubt they could get up to any mischief while investigating.
I mean, we would be surprised.
Miss Sakura, would you like to go somewhere together after dinner?
Maybe next time. Hinata has her foot injury. I want to keep her company in the dorms. She might need my help after all. I could do some of my homework in the meantime as well.
All right then.
You can hear her deflating.
Truly, Koizumi-sensei is my greatest nemesis in romance. Sorry, Ibuki-san, but if you'd like, you could come to our room and the three of us could enjoy a conversation together?
She's trying though.
I wanted to sort through some of my thoughts on my own anyways. More importantly, the atmosphere would be so unbearably awkward if it were all three of us together.
It's so true.
I'll have a more in-depth discussion with you when I prepared myself, Koizumi-sensei.
Like in the bath. Ron with the bangs of hair dangling in front of her eyes, twisting them with her fingers into a rope. She stared at the tips of her bangs to concentrate as she sorted through the clues to the case in her mind.
That's not it, right, is it?
She let go of her hair, and the waterlogged strands slowly drifted back apart.
So what if someone died? It wasn't Miss Sakura after all. Why am I working so hard to solve the case for them? Because I care about them? Sounds fake.
Right, it's...
Is it just because I find Ito likable? If it were any of the others, would I be perfectly fine with just ignoring the whole thing?
Is there anyone here who we could truly call unlikable at this point? Ron allowed her body to slide into the water and raised her head to look at the mist-shrouded ceiling.
Or am I doing this because I enjoy the deductive process itself?
There's a,
My top priority is to retrieve Miss Sakura's memories so I can take her away from here. But the situation has now become much more complex than I imagined, given what I know about Koizumi-sensei. For example, what would happen if I tried to take Indo away from here? Would she just turn into a skeleton?
Oh no. Oh no, Raiders of the Lost Ark style. Oh no, Last Crusade style.
If I took Koizumi-sensei out of here, would she age up instantly?
Ron shouted as she buried her face into the water. It's an accurate depiction of shouting underwater, I believe.
What do I do, Miss Sakura? I can't figure it out.
After Ron reached the limits of her ability to hold her breath, she lifted her face from the water, taking large mouthfuls of air as she wiped away the water on her face with her hand. Hi! Then she saw Asakura standing in the bathroom.
Nice. You scared me.
I don't suppose I could join the bath with you.
Well, you're already here. It's not like I can kick you out or anything.
My dastardly plan has worked. Asakura took her place under the shower head and began to wash herself. Ron slid backwards, pulling herself closer to the edge of the bath to put distance between herself and Asakura.
I should say something to Asakura in a minute, but what? It'd be awkward for two people to take a bath without either of them saying anything. I don't want to leave yet. I've only just soaked for a few minutes, but when it comes to topics that I can talk to Asakura about...
Ron suddenly realized that it was more or less impossible to avoid bringing up Tama when talking to Asakura. And likewise, somehow every conversation she had with Tama always came back around to the topic of Asakura, intentionally or unintentionally. It's like Ran and Sakura.
Their relationship seems like it differs slightly from ordinary friendship. So, how'd you get together with Ino in the first place?
Asakura couldn't help but laugh out loud. As she washed some suds out of her hair, she answered, "Wouldn't a normal person try to respect my feelings at a time like this?" Huh.
I've forced myself to respect your feelings for like several whole minutes already. I think I've done my due diligence.
That cracked her up for a good while again. That's one of the things I like about you. Asakura slid into the path, letting her long hair settle over her chest. Ron felt like this side of Asakura was very different from the one that she usually projected.
Sakura seems like she's softened up a lot, but there's still something weird about it.
A little bit, yeah. Tama and I have just acclimated to each other. Initially, it was because we were assigned to the same dorm, and I wanted to have good relations with my roommate. She was just way too proactive about it.
You found that annoying?
You trying to trick me into saying something I shouldn't, Ibuki-san?
No, of course not.
No, never. I'll take your word for it then. And I've never thought that Tama was annoying. She's so precious after all. She's always very considerate about my feelings, so never had any problems. Asakura raised her hand and brushed her dangling bangs out of her eyes. Since I have such a strong relationship with Tama, nobody believes I'd ever do something so horrible to Tama. So the culprit's trying to play a level above us all, and trying to frame me by doing something I'd never do. Are we sure?
Even a less painful method would still work if they were trying to frame you, right?
Ron hadn't expected Asakura to actively change the topic toward the case, so she immediately grew cautious. After all, to the others, Ron herself was also a potential suspect.
Seriously, let's skip all the she knew that I knew that she knew that I knew nonsense.
But did she know? Did she know? Asakura nodded as she laughed. She apparently quite liked Ron's blunt way of speaking. Huh. You're far more interesting than Tama and myself, though. You know that? Makoto had smoothly changed the topic once again.
What's so interesting about me?
From your perspective, we must be a group of complete weirdos, attending classes despite the lack of teachers, with a light pinch of murders on top of it all.
Yeah, like, I seriously don't even know if you're going to be able to take your college entrance exams at all.
Yeah, sure. College entry exams.
Ever since I got my memories about Koizumi-sensei, I've decided it's not likely that any of the students here are the true mastermind behind all this. They're probably victims of the situation just like me. But I can't say there is no mastermind either. I've encountered situations like this in the past, but they usually turned out to be more like natural phenomena than anything else, with a total lack of self-awareness. But this situation's particularly complicated. There are rules and conditions everywhere. It's hard to believe that this is a completely non-conscious anomaly. Wait. Maybe the supposed complexity is just my subjective perception? Maybe to this anomalous environment, it's just satisfying one simple criterion that leads to the present situation as it is now.
Oh.
Which I knew what she was talking about.
Existing complex... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Like, say it took an existing complex structure and used that as a blueprint?
Ron Ibuki played Danganronpa, and now she's having supernatural nightmares. She's also very gay.
Nice.
Ron's experiences with a model of 10,000 flashed through her mind, giving her fresh inspiration. The what? Wow, Yorno was right. They do just suddenly stop talking randomly in the middle of conversations. We just start remembering traumatic shit, apparently. Where are you? next page. Forgot there's the next page. The model of 10,000 of... Oh! 10,000 humans! Huh.
10,000, you say?
10,000 of them. A complete upright human anatomical model. The left half of the model appears as the naked human form with intact skin, while the right half permits the internal organs to be directly viewed. It's Monokuma. It's Betakuma. The model's particular appearance depends on and changes based on the observer. No matter how many people simultaneously observe the model, they only perceive the model as being modeled after a being indistinguishable from their own body. Furthermore, the organs of the
that
model
sounds really useful, actually.
will reflect in real time the statuses of the corresponding organs of the observer. Oh. Examples of this include the beat of the heart, movements of the eye, and any diseases of the internal organs. If the model is intentionally touched, the toucher will feel the same touch on the corresponding part of their own body. Organs of the model can be removed so as to permit convenient observation of organs concealed behind other organs. Does removing the organs doesn't seem to affect your organs. You can't, like, rip out a kidney from the model and all of a sudden your kidney explodes. That's probably good. Ranabuki once brought a certain person, a memory before the model of the 10,000, and used that person's hand to take a photo, allowing her to capture that person's model. Received great inspiration from this. Studying. Was that Miss Sakura, I wonder? Has she seen inside Miss Sakura?
Oh my.
Feels quite like, well, how do we get notes on here? Something's wrong. Next page. Okay, yeah, we get notes out here. Memory is the key to solving these mysteries. Hot water baths here feel great. Do they draw the water from a mountain spring or something? Does it ever stop raining here? I wonder if there's anything Sayuro isn't capable of doing. The Tama the culprit might have been. Somebody might eventually utilize the chemicals in the lab. What happened here?
Normal.
Like, oh, okay. Can't be Miss Sakura. Yep, that page got ripped. And then coming back here. Okay, yeah. Okay. That's just here.
Just thinking about stuff.
You know. Ran inscribed the idea she just had deeply into her mind. See? Stuff like this that makes us feel like you're the weirdest one out of all of us. Huh.
Hey, I feel like I'm completely normal.
So normal.
Ron?
Yeah. You think about it. You suddenly appear in the school, can't explain where you came from, then immediately acclimate to our killing game, also displaying a startling degree of competence in logical deduction. Makes an outsider of you like you capable of adapting with ease to what should be an extremely strange environment for you. Perhaps you're able to remain so calm only because you know some things that none of the rest of us know. Ooh, Ron hadn't expected that Asakura would suddenly press her on these things here. Ron didn't know the answer to some of Asakura's questions herself. As far as the ones she could answer went, Ron didn't want to wait. Ron didn't want to until she could confirm that the other students were victims of the situation, just like her.
I'm only staying here to get Miss Sakura's memories back. I'm pretty sure memory loss has something to do with this school. It's the only reason why I'm forcing myself to accept the way you people live. If I spent all my time freaking out about everything and jumping at shadows, I wouldn't be able to help Miss Sakura.
I don't think Alan's memory loss has anything to do with the school. She was like this when we first met her. It's far more likely that she lost her memories due to something that happened outside the school.
Huh. True. Otherwise, there would be no way to explain why she didn't get into contact with me immediately after she disappeared.
Ron looked down at her blurry reflection in the water.
So then, should I...
That's what I'm curious about as well. Sakura reached out and put a hand on Ron's shoulder as she spoke, sending ripples through the water that pushed Ron's reflection away. There's no disputing your feelings for An at this point. If your relationship was really as rock solid as you thought, then why did An leave you? Weren't the two of you supposed to be together forever, after all? What happened? Oof. Ron's eyes widened. She suddenly realized that she had no idea when An had disappeared, or the circumstances of how she had disappeared. Her brain only contained the fact that An Sakura was not at her side, that she was obsessed with finding her. The cause of all these events had somehow slipped from her memory.
Now calm down, this isn't important. It's probably one of the memories I know I'm missing. I'm sure I'll remember it again once I leave.
Losing time as well.
Being with Miss Sakura's the most important thing. Everything else is inconsequential. Yeah, right. I don't remember. It's not important, though. I'm sure that Miss Sakura will tell me why once she's got her memories back.
Truly.
It's not...
Ooh. That was random. Asakura pulled her hand away from Ron. She shifted her gaze away from Ron as well, returning to looking straight forward. You really do trust her. You treat An as your reason to continue living, don't you? I want to know how you accomplished that. What made it possible for you to make someone else into your reason to live?
The worst self-esteem. I have no interest in discussing Miss Sakura with others.
Ron rose up and out of the bath. Hot water steamed from her body into the bath, raising splashes that forced Asakura to squint her eyes.
Doesn't Miho deeply value you as well? Maybe you should have this conversation with her, not me, after all this is over.
Her, huh? Ron looked down and saw that Asakura wore a very peculiar expression, almost, but not quite smiling, as she stared at the misty surface of the water.
She must still be recovering from the shock of Indo's death. Let's leave her alone for now. Oh, I'm heading out now. Bye!
Broached the forbidden subject. Asakura didn't say a word in response and only nodded. Ron didn't think she wanted to be alone in a room with Asakura. Quickly left the bathroom and shut the door with great force. Bang. Okay, well. Oh, okay. Guess we're gonna crash this after all. Do we want to call it for the night here?
Yeah, it might be a good idea.
Yeah, we're going for what, 3.5 hours? Menu. Yeah. Shine a light down that crack, will ya? Yeah. Over right here. Okay.
Happy jotting.
Yeah, happy jotting. We jotted good tonight, yeah.
Indo's still dead, but that'll be fixed next stream, probably.
Yeah, that's fine. She died badly. That was a very bad way to go. Gosh, yeah. Ooh,
Yeah, no hard feelings.
yeah, not from us. There might be some hard feelings hanging around, but you know how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you just end up, yeah,
Yep, truly doing her best owl impression.
yeah, her best owl impression. Sometimes you just sit there and you wake up tied to a tree and you go, whoo, and then you, yeah. But God, this was a really good episode for banter. He's doing a duo impression, yeah. Duolingo Owl also did. Good. Let him perish. In eternity. So while we're discussing, who do you want to raid? This point here, who's on?
No, who do you got in mind?
Let's see. We got someone playing Story of Seasons.
Ooh.
You want to do that?
Which
Yeah.
one?
Friends of Mineral Town.
Oh,
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do Misa Deluxe. Yeah. So yeah, let's go back to the title screen in the meantime and see. We'll start this here. Yes. All right. We always have to leave off on a gallery. Hello, gallery. None of that. We don't want to see. Spare us from Tama. We'll leave off with Koizumi Sensei and Ran here. Yeah. And we'll thank you for hanging around and jotting the
thanks
chronos
for coming,
with us.
everybody.
Jotting the chronos with us. And yeah. I will probably be back tomorrow for more
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Yet Another Killing Game. Killing
Yeah.
Hours. We've got many mysteries to solve tomorrow.
Enjoy Act 3.
Heck yeah. We'll see where we go. God, Act 2 was really good. We figured out, like, simultaneously figured out a ton and left a lot open to being unsure of what to do with.
And zombies are real.
Zombies are real and killing us much. And also the fire basement. Fire basement is fun. So, we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see when you're back too. Take care of your voice in the meantime until you're back. And we will see you next
Yippee.
we'll see you next Wednesday for more chronos. Until then.